Did I mute you?
All
Or did you
right,
mute?
I'm
Oh,
ready.
there. All right. Cool. All right. Let me just start it and we'll intro there. All right. Starting. All right. I think we're live. I'm not that. I know you do that thing where you have people type in so we know we're live, but I'm gonna wing it. I usually do shows at 6 p.m. and I haven't done live, and I just announced it yesterday, so I'm not expecting a huge crowd, but I wanted to record it because this is very exciting. This BitcoinHEX project, I fell into your little rabbit hole. I woke up one morning. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, I go to bed early, and I read a little and go back to sleep. I was on Twitter. I stumbled on your video at 3 a.m, and I watched you for like 2 hours, and then
Just
So
two. Nice. You got off easy.
this I wanted to, and my viewers, I give advice sometimes on what. Actually, I'm not a financial analyst, but I talk about the different crypto projects. What you have is really interesting to me, just for a bunch of reasons about game theory, and we'll get to that. But the other thing is, I've only looked at it a little here, and it's free. It's free money. So okay, fine. Like, why not? It's just a little bit of our time to get it. So I need to understand a little more technically how it works, and then talk about the chances of this thing being one of the top coins that you hope it to be. So I've got a lot of questions. I guess I'll just start. Well, do you want to give a brief intro to people of what it is? How would you explain it in a few sentences?
Well, hi everybody. I'm Richard Hart, cryptocurrency thought leader, OG. Been in Bitcoin since early 2011. Serial entrepreneur. Retired in 2003. Traveled the world. Had 150 employees. 60 million a year in sales. Started myself. No partners. That was like one of many businesses I did. So it seemed like every business took like 2 years. So did car stereo for 2 years, did search engine optimization for 2 years. Then we got into mortgages and correspondent lending and a bunch of other stuff. So got into Bitcoin in 2011. Bitcoin was vetted 2009. I started watching it when it was $1, slightly under $1, and then I got in with a lot of other people when the article came out in Wired about the Silk Road, and I was like, oh, this is actually going to work. It has a use case. And then got in at 30, watched it go down to 1, held.
Did you buy at the top of that bubble? That 30 was. I remember looking at the old charts. That was. It's okay. Listen, we all.
Yeah, Roger Ver got in a couple months earlier than me, so he has like 30x my money.
Yeah.
So fair. It's like, it's hard for people to, like, if you go to a sandwich store and there's 2 sandwiches left and there's 2 people trying to get the sandwiches, it's fair that both people get a sandwich for a normal price. It's not fair that one guy goes in just ahead of you, maybe after you hold the door for him, and then he buys both sandwiches and tries to mark it up 10x for you.
So you bought at 30 and went to 1. Did you sell on the way down at all?
Held forever, still holding. Like, you can take some off with hedging, but like, it's an interesting asset class.
Yeah, so you're only 10 times smarter than me, because I got in, it was around 500, I was around 350, average price. And now we look back and laugh, like, you're 30, I got it at 350.
Yeah.
And it's like, but when it falls from 30 to 40, it's painful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how much other stuff you got going on. Like, I just haven't really cared about the falling that much, because when you have so much money, it's like, oh, whatever, it's up, it's down, doesn't matter. But then when I started coming out and like slapping my identity on this stuff, because I saw Ethereum overtake the market cap, I was like, all right, I'm going to defend my investment here. And, then that becomes your identity and what you're doing. It was really hard for me to like shake free of maximalism. It was really hard to do, but you figured out.
What did you try to do in Bitcoin to fix it? I mean, just with vision, or were you actually coding?
You can't fix it. You can't. It's not.
But I mean,
fixable.
were you writing, trying to propose?
Oh, like public relations, like trying to explain to people, hey, ICOs are scams. These are bad businesses done by the wrong people at the wrong valuations with no product market fit, no traction, no milestones. The best outcome for the people that sold you the ICO is to just start another one and let the old one die. Like, it's horrible every way possible. And all of that preaching did nothing except, maybe some people didn't get destroyed by the ICOs that went to zero, maybe, but personally, I just, make enemies from doing that, right? So it's like a tragedy of the commons kind of, where I try and save the many at personal cost, and it's not worth it to me, right? Same.
So I'm a little lost here.
Sure.
I mean, you can tell more about your
Okay.
intro. I was gonna almost get to some of that stuff later, which is a little backwards.
Okay. Yeah, we could do the hex thing if you want. Whatever you
What's
want.
that?
It's your show, man. However you want to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the bottom line for me, I love one of the things you said was you say a token is just trust and game theory.
Yep.
And I kind of think it's right. Okay, trustlessness.
Yeah.
I guess each of these words we could spend an hour defining, but the trustlessness, game theory, and I also think utility. But anyways, this thing about game theory I think is really interesting, and I'm curious first of all so your token you're coming out with, it's just trust and game theory. It's the best in both, so it's going to be a top coin, and there's some merit to that argument.
It will be a top coin for other reasons. Being a good coin is not enough.
Well, what I see you're saying is, well, it's an ERC20 token, audited, and so it's safe. It's the security trust. We don't have to worry about the rules changing.
It's safer. It's safer than coins with low hash rate. So it's safer than Bitcoin. It's safer than everything except for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Maybe.
Yeah.
I can make the case that it's safer than Bitcoin against some things. And I can make a case that it's safer than Ethereum, which it runs on, for some things. It depends on how technical you want to get.
I think it's safe in that what you code will happen.
Right.
But the question is whether your code happens the way we hope it works, right? And some of the, you've got a lot of game theory. So basically, so the game theory, your idea here.
Well, I'll just pitch it.
Incentivizing. First, I'm just curious, how do you define game theory? I define it as just some sort of incentives to get people to just hold the token. Like, is that what
sure? If that's what, if holding the token is your end game, then so game theory is basically a branch of psychology and to some degree mathematics, where you try and analyze all interactions that conscious actors have that have agency and say, okay, all of the ways that conscious things can interact have this general format, right? There's a winner, there's a loser, there's a tie, there's cooperation, there's antagonism, and then you just permute all those things and you say, okay, how many different strategies are there that you can play this game with these types of participants? And then you can use like a Monte Carlo simulation and have them all fight each other and do it over and over and over again. And what you find out for the most part is that the most successful game theory is tit for tat. And you can discover that in yourself because human beings have a feeling called reciprocity. So if I scratch your back, you owe me a back scratch, right? If I give you some food, you owe me some food. So that is built into our psychology because it's effective, and it's not just built into us, it's built into animals as well. So, a lot of the emotions that work well for humans in interacting with each other, they also work well for anything else that's conscious, right? So for the most part, I get asked a lot about what book people should read on game theory. And I pretty much tell them, don't. Just read books on marketing. Because the sets of games that you want to optimize for the most part, revolve around significance and wealth, right? That's what you really care about. You don't really care about the prisoner's dilemma and defecting to another side and, tit for two tat strategies. You really don't care about that stuff. You just want to be able to sell stuff and make people like you. That's what you really want. So I tell them to skip the game theory for the most part and just study marketing, because it's a specialized vertical subset of game theory. It existed.
It's funny you say that, because I was really early on the internet. I was one of the largest distributors of adult products, and I created one of the first affiliate programs. And I was early
affiliate programs.
What's that?
I love affiliate. That's how I got rich, with affiliate programs as well on the internet.
Yeah, I tell you, some of my affiliates made more money than me.
Yeah, we had a booth at AVN. We had a booth at back when it was at the same time that Comdex was out in Vegas. We had a
Yeah.
booth at Internext. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have a sex toy store.
Get out of here.
Yeah,
What
man.
was your?
Triple X Toy Joy, but it didn't really take off that much. Like it turns out the photos you take of your products are super important. Our photos sucked, and it wasn't done as well as it could have been.
I used to go to Kinko's with Wine and Howard Stern on the radio and scan photos for hours.
I think you were in a little bit ahead of me. We didn't have to scan the photos. Like this was about 2001, 2002 when I got in.
Manufacturers just give it to us for free. They're happy to.
Right.
But anyways, Internet. Anyways, there's a lot of. But where were we?
Oh, we were talking about game theory. So my
sorry. My point was just that game theory is. I just started thinking. I was thinking about that exactly. What is game theory? I'm like, that's just the new marketing. It's another piece of marketing, but it's a big new piece that I think is going to be. There's a lot going on, and you're early and very knowledgeable on this topic. That's one of the things that interests me.
Yeah, like I know what makes things work, right? Like I had 300,000 customers retail that I got from making things that work, right? So if you think about it, what are the problems that cryptocurrency has? Well, no one uses it. Okay, well that's a problem. Well, why don't they use it? It's super hard to use. Okay, well what are the other problems? Well, these 80, 85, and 95% dips. It's hard to call it a dip. I mean, it's a euphemism to call an 85 to 95% drop a dip. That's a crash. I mean, a lot of people bought the top, sold the bottom, and will be very angry when it makes new all-time highs again, right? And it just keeps doing this. So how can you design parameters which avoid these problems and make new awesome things that the old thing can't do? So most people don't understand that blockchain is kind of, to some degree, a distributed Ponzi scheme. There are people that get in with the hope of larger rewards, and if you hold longer than 3 years, you get those rewards historically.
It's a pyramid, not a Ponzi's when they take money, make promises that they're going to give back or that they're using it, whereas a pyramid is just this.
Yeah, I agree.
This sort of thing.
Your language is correct. Yes, there is a distinction between a pyramid and a Ponzi, and I would say that Ponzi's fail because they have debts that they can't pay, and no currency in a crypto can have a debt that it can't pay you usually. Right, like there are some that
pyramids just run out of gas. It's sort of like you get they can just run out of gas. Right. And so Bitcoin has game theory in that it's just there's only 21 million with a decreasing issuance rate. It's simple. The key to it
maybe there's only 21 million. It's up to the miners, right?
Well,
it's like if the miners decide, hey, actually there's like 22 million.
I'm also a recovering Bitcoin maximalist, but but I still believe that 21 million is not changing anytime.
Maybe, maybe, but like I don't care.
The consensus at the end of the day, but that's
I'm tired of buying someone else's bags, right? Like, oh, you bought Bitcoin at $1 and it went up to 20,000. Good for you, man. That's awesome. I'm glad that your bag pumped really hard. I'm not going to buy your bag off you. I'm going to go make my new better bag, and I'm going to get it for $0. Unfortunately, I don't get it for $0, right? I had to invent it, and it costs a lot of money to do that. So I'm the only guy that doesn't get it for $0. Everyone else gets it for $0. Lucky for you guys.
So, people watching this probably are still like, what the hell is this thing? Because neither of us, let me just try to give it 2 seconds. If you have Bitcoin, he takes a snapshot at some point of your Bitcoin on chain, and for what your snapshot is, you can go and claim this new token, BitcoinHEX. Yep. Which is an ERC20 token. Right. You can claim it. The earlier you claim it, the more you get.
Yep.
Once you have your token, you can then stake it. Yep. And you get, he doesn't need miners, or BitcoinHEX doesn't need miners because it's on Ethereum.
We need a couple miners. We need the Ethereum miners to mine a little bit in case we want to send and receive. We don't need any extra miners.
But it's not like, the amount of money that goes into mining on Bitcoin and even Ethereum, you're just riding on top of Ethereum security. And so if there's going to be some inflation, like there's no expenses, so let's give it to the holders, to the staker. Creates an incentive to stake.
Yep.
And interesting too is, so then, well, what if everyone stakes? Well, then there's none for sale and the price goes up. And
Yep.
well, then what if people sell it? Well, then there's less stakers, and then
Yep.
you make more money
Yep.
on the payments to the stakers. So that is a great balance
Agree.
in game theory, which is sort of like too, like with the miners and the hash rate, how
Exactly.
it gets easier and harder.
Well, that's where I copied it from.
balance
That's where I
is-
like got the idea from, because I had fought with this for a while, thinking about how to balance the percentage return against the staker pool, and I'd fought months with a spreadsheet trying different formulas and different shapes of graphs to see what might work best. And then I thought, oh my God, why don't we do it just like Bitcoin with a pool? And I was like, well, man, I just wasted like, like months of spreadsheet playing around and figured out that the way Bitcoin did that part was pretty neat, right? Because it auto balances, right? Like, oh, too many people staking. Well, let's reduce the rewards. Not enough people staking. Okay, let's increase the rewards. And that's just like an inherent property of any pool-based system, right? So if 1% of people stake, you're going to get a 369% return at the end of your stake, on average. If you stake longer than other people, you're going to get more than that because you're reducing their pay and increasing your pay. So this becomes this war for longer stake periods. So if 100% of the tokens locked for a year, then everyone would get 3.69% interest, not including the other bonuses. So there's two other profit centers that go into the interest above and beyond the interest from inflation. That is, if you end your stake early, right? Like if you eject, you're like, oh man, I said I was going to stake for a year, but I just can't do what I said I would. And you eject, you get penalized half of the interest that you would have received, right? So we take the number of pay periods that existed while you were staked. We average what the payout was for those periods. And then we use that average to penalize you for all the money that you owe that you didn't serve. So you get penalized half. So if you lock up for a year and you serve like a day, you basically owe like half a year. And that means that'll come right out of your principal. So if you say you're going to stake, you should stake, right? It's like a truth engine is what I call it. But if you can't stake and you have to eject, you're going to pay a penalty, and that penalty is going to go to the rest of the stakers. And it's really half the penalty because another half goes to the origin address. So
I agree with oh yeah, you still want to?
Well, the point is that there's three revenue centers if you're a staker. One is the interest, which goes up if less people are staking, down if more people are staking. If people lie or emergency end stake early, you get half of whatever their penalty is. And their penalty is based on how long they staked for. And the reason that's fair is because the longer you stake, the more bonus shares you get, the less money everyone else gets paid. Because now you've got more shares, which means their shares are worth less. So if you stake for a really long time, you get that 20% extra shares per year. You took a risk, right? And then you should fulfill your end of the bargain to get the reward. But if you took the risk, reduced everyone else's payout, then ejected, you're going to get penalized and they're going to get that money, right? So it's neat. It's auto balancing, just like the auto balancing that we saw with getting paid more or less based on how many people are competing in the pool against you. You're also competing for how long you're staking for the bonus shares, and you're also making money on the people that screwed up and said they were going to do a thing and didn't do the thing. You got one other profit center. If your stake ends and your shares are in the pool and everyone else is getting paid less because your shares are sitting there, you need to pull those shares out within 2 weeks. If you don't, you start losing a percent of your stake every week, and it goes to the stakers, half of it, right? Now, anyone can pull your shares out of the pool. So anyone could save you from that fate if they were nice enough to run it. But I don't know if people
talking about this. I want to see if I have it right, which is so when the stake ends, you're still in there earning tokens.
Right. And you're not earning tokens. You're just reducing everyone else's payouts.
Okay.
You'll never be.
You can't kick them out because with Ethereum, everything you do costs money. Every transaction.
Exactly. Someone has to pay to pull those out.
And can you even do it? Like if you wanted to pay, or somebody can.
Sure. So there's two functions that anyone can call. So anyone can transmit your claim for you. So when you claim and you say, hey, I got these Bitcoins in this address. Here's my signature that shows I do. And I've included in that signature what my Ethereum address is that I want you to credit my BitcoinHEX to. Anyone can transmit that because it shows the Bitcoin address, the proof that the holder of that address wants their BitcoinHEX in this address. Anyone can transmit that, right?
This is getting, I'm sure. Let me get to, I have,
Sure.
so in general, I like the idea, for a lot of reasons, but I have a bunch of questions that are like, let's see if this is really going to work.
Sure.
I've seen good ideas not work too. So
this is crypto. Stupid, terrible shit works in crypto if it's marketed well. And this is marketed well. So even if it was horrible, it would work.
I've seen the stupidest things. I mean, we have some similar favorite coins to hate, like IOTA and Bitcoin Cash. I've seen But anyways, so first one is regarding who's claiming. So for me, when I think about this token, it's a game theory. It's like, these Bitcoin maximalists, I don't see them buying. I see the people who love this are a lot of, people who own Tron and EOS, and not to disparage them. Like, I get that market, like, the gambling, and it's not all about, there's people who are in Binance, on exchanges. Like, if you're going to say, who's the typical person who loves this, I bet their money is on an exchange and or not in Bitcoin. So to give the claim only to the Bitcoin OGs, is there going to be enough people to claim? Because
there's so many tricky things going on here that I don't know whether I should give you the happy public relations version or like the real reason the decisions were made.
You got to keep it real. I'll figure it out anyways.
I guess I'll give you the real ones. So I could tell you that the fairest way to launch a cryptocurrency is to give it to the widest distribution of people, which is Bitcoin holders, the people that are most likely to hold because they've had the longest period to hold. That's also Bitcoin holders. The people that have the most money, also Bitcoin holders because it has the highest market cap, right? The people that are most likely to have a signature function on their wallet to do this trustless claim, also Bitcoin people, right? So that's all really nice. And that's all really like awesome, right? But there's other reasons, which I'm not that happy to advertise, right? Like freemium. So there's billions and billions and billions of dollars made on free games. Well, how do they do that? Because you come in for the free and you're like, man, look at these graphs. This is when people are going to come off staking, and this is how many percent I'm going to make, and how many people are paying these penalties and what's their average return, and you just get sucked into the mind space of it because there's so many more things to look at, and then you see the gains and you're like, man, I want more of these gains. Maybe I should sell some of that thing and buy some more of this thing, right?
Yeah, I guess my point is that the people who are likely to get sucked into that, that crowd I mean, there are people in.
Have you ever bought a shitcoin?
Well, what's your definition of shitcoin? I made
right.
a lot of money on Stellar.
So even if you're the hardest core Bitcoin maximalist, some part of you sees these mad gains and is like, yeah, I want a taste of that shit. Maybe I'll put 2 or 3% on it, right? And everyone does that, right? And so all of the awesome, like, good things I mentioned, they're great. But for me as a marketer, I care about the freemium. I want you addicted to this. I want you watching it. I want you talking about it. I want you to be not able to sleep.
Right. I guess my point is, why not figure out a way to give it free to like people who are on Binance or people who...
Well, we're working on that. So Binance has 2 cold wallets. They both use 3 addresses. And they're both not multi-sig, which is rare. So I can support... I'm 98% sure that I can support Binance claiming the BitcoinHEX tokens for their clients at a large discount. They're going to get hit with a whale penalty. They're going to lose 75% of their stack because it's over 10,000 coins, and they're going to lose 2% of their stack every week they don't claim, just like everybody else. But at some point, if the guys at Binance want to sign a simple signature, they'll get, 200,000 or 300,000 Bitcoin worth of BitcoinHEX, and be able to give that to their clients. And That's good for them because now there's a new trading pair that can do, well, first it gets their clients to want to use.
They take.
Yeah, they want trading volume, and they want their clients to use their exchange and not other exchanges. And the more things that people have to play with on there, the more volume gets done, the more money they make.
Okay, so my thing is just like the thought. I think of reasons why it won't work. Like, and again, nothing against you. I do this with every business idea.
Most business ideas suck. Most business ideas are terrible.
Yes.
I hear them all day long, yeah.
Yeah, and right, and we love them until they launch, and then we understand why they're terrible. So one idea is, I mean, one concern is, well, what if not enough people claim just to even get it going, right? You got to get the ball rolling. Is there a number that you worry about, or is there a level? If it doesn't get this many, we're in trouble. Or
no, because it just changes your market demographic. So your market demographic shifts, right? So right now, the sales pitch for the product, in my opinion, sucks. Because I'm giving away free money to Bitcoin maximalists, we're very hateful. So a small portion of those people likes free money, and they claimed their lumens, top 10 crypto, XRP, which anyone could have got by filling out an email address, top 10 crypto, Bitcoin Cash, sad as it is, top 10 crypto, right? Free money has been given out over and over and over again. And some people are smart enough to take it, and some people are too stupid. Okay, well, I can give you the opportunity, but I'm only going to give that opportunity for a little while. And if you don't take it, fuck off. You can market buy and FOMO just like everyone else when the 50 weeks is up.
Okay.
Right?
So if it's a small initial group that claims, you're just starting it with a smaller number, but that's not.
I can tell you the 1,000 people that joined the BitcoinHEX only chat room, or 1,150 as of now, they didn't join for the nude pictures. They joined because they want to get their BitcoinHEX. Right. And this is without a working product. This is without demos. This is with $0 spent on marketing. This is with me not asking to do an interview with anyone. Every interview I've done is people that have reached out to me, right? So I've done no interviews in a push format, no marketing budget spent whatsoever, right? I've already, like, wait till you see how this thing takes off when people start getting instantly rewarded for the referral program.
So that leads to the next question, which is, I've heard you say something like the claims are going to come. It's going to start launch maybe in a month. And I've just heard you say. We've probably slapped on a week or two to that by letting these 3 addresses claim. Because now, but I also heard you say it's not on a test net yet, and it's not audited. And I'm like, as someone who used to launch stuff, like, I'm already thinking.
I would totally be not surprised if it goes, yes. So, on the website, it's like first quarter.
Are you a developer?
I'm confident with first quarter.
I'm
close. I've lost enough money developing software that I know how it goes. I've lost a good $1 million developing software that never came out of beta.
Yeah, so I mean, from what I'm hearing, I'm thinking 3 or 4 months here.
Yeah, it could be. And it like, so.
You should, but you keep saying a month. You like to want to get people.
Well, okay. So I'll tell you why that's going on. One, the amount of time it takes to finish a project is directly related to the amount of time you allot to it. And if you allot more time to the project, it takes longer to finish. So there's this art between overpressuring your developers and where they just burn out, and letting them know, look, we actually have to finish. So we need to think less and write more, right? So that's a fine art to do. And then there's another art of getting people interested in something that takes a while to learn about, right? So to understand just the game theory of this, it's got to take you a while to really think about it. I mean,
right, but you don't want to lose credibility and having it's going to be this day.
So
and
I'm okay with being like,
if you keep saying
3 or 4,
weeks,
if I'm late 3 or 4 weeks, or even up to like 5 weeks, I'm totally cool with that, and that matches my messaging. So my messaging is like, look, I don't know that the auditors. It's on the bottom of the website under status. I don't know if the auditors are going to be available. I can't make them work any faster than they do. I think they can do their work in 3 weeks. We haven't even locked the code to submit it to them yet. We're still doing testing internally. So I'm very truthful about my estimates, right? But like, once I start a timer, what are my options, right? My options are to either, so this Monday, it's going to go from 4 weeks to 3 weeks, and I have to choose, am I going to say, look, man, this is going to take some extra weeks, or am I just going to be like, yo, we're not going to rotate the timer this week? I haven't decided which.
On 4 weeks, isn't that based on there's no bugs from the audit and the test?
So we should have already been done with testing now, and we're not. So.
Oh, I thought it wasn't even on the testnet.
Oh, yeah. No. We have a private testnet. So like the functions work. We have a private testnet. The code is very close to being complete, but you can't, if you add a new feature, like, yeah, we're going to let 3 addresses claim. Okay, well then our test UTXO set doesn't have 3 addresses in it. So we have to run a new test UTXO set. And then you run it and you're like, oh, we also need it to like stop deleting these scripts because we need to do this thing. And then it just cascades into this small change of just letting 3 addresses claim, which adds 5 million coins. Like,
what is the 3? I dread this question, so I had it lower on the list, but maybe we'll get to it, which is, so I have Ledger Nano, which I got this.
Defaults to a 3 address, which is multi-sig.
Is that what it is? And I saw you say something about SegWit, and I did select that I uses SegWit addresses. But when you say, whenever I go into that Ledger Nano, if I want to send money to it on Bitcoin, it gives me a public address, but every time I go, it's a different address. So does that address remain forever? And so then, I don't know.
So the way this works is that there's basically 3 types of common addresses in Bitcoin, and there can always be more, right? So Bitcoin was built to be flexible, and it's not flexible, but it was built to be flexible. So you can add flexibility to it if you want. So in the beginning, there was no such thing as an address. There was pay to IP, okay? And then they got rid of that. And then there was pay to address. And then they got rid of that because address was actually just your public key. Then they got rid of that, and then you pay to a hash of your public key, which is the most common one. And then they're like, oh, well, we want multi-sig. Okay, well, then that's a script. That means I need to do logic. Did this guy sign? Did that guy sign? Did that guy sign? And so then they invented pay to a script. And then if this script evaluates true, then pay, right? And then they were like, oh, well, what other scripts can we do? Oh, we can time lock, right? And so we've evolved from pay to IP to pay to public key to pay to the hash of a public key to pay to some logic, which can evaluate things, right? And that's called pay to script hash, right? So do your logic, and then if the hash of that equals this, then great. Like, it's good to go. And so what you have in your wallet is a pay to script hash that evaluates, it separates out some logic for the keys. And it's like, okay, here's the stuff that matters, and then this stuff doesn't matter as much, and it segregates the witness from like this other logic, right? It's just a way to save some space. It's a way to more efficiently use the limited block space that I have.
What I have, do I need to move my Bitcoin somewhere?
I would say, here's what I would say. Personally, I've never used a 3 SegWit address in my life. The more things that you use that are newer and less supported, the more risk that you take, okay? If you use a 1 address, you have the maximum airdrops that you can claim.
So you've already convinced me to move to something else.
I would use an address that starts with 1, a normal ass normal
use an address. With Ethereum, I have, myetherwallet.com. It keeps all the ERC20 tokens. I don't know if it's the best. It's easy. It works. And I've heard you mention this Electrum. And is that one if I just...
So if you use Bitcoin on a desktop, I recommend Electrum. Electrum also supports hardware wallets through it. So the hardware wallet can hold your keys, which would be Ledger or Trezor. Also, the MetaMask wallet for Ethereum, which is what we recommend to use for our token on the ERC20 side, the claiming and staking side, that also supports Trezor and Electrum hardware wallets through it. So you can keep all your...
You're saying MetaMask is for the claiming.
Yeah.
I have to have Bitcoin on a 1 address, which would be, I move it to, I create an address in the Electrum and put it there.
In theory, you could do it in your Ledger too. It's just really hard because their new app sucks and it doesn't support it. So you have to use the Chrome extension.
But I move it there. You'll take a snapshot there. When I claim it, I'm going to go through MetaMask and put in public key address or something.
Well, what you're going to do is you just, so on the bottom of the website, it just shows you the 5-step process to claim, and it's really simple. you install the MetaMask extension, you go to the BitcoinHEX website, you tell it your Bitcoin address. It goes and looks up your Bitcoin address and says, okay, we know this address holds all these UTXOs, and now we're going to make you a little statement to prove that this is really yours. And you copy paste that little blob of text into your wallet, your Bitcoin wallet. And then you tell your Bitcoin wallet, okay, I want to sign with this key, and you click sign, and you click copy, and you click paste, and you click submit, and you're done. Okay. So you're literally typing your Bitcoin address, copy pasting to your Bitcoin wallet, hitting sign, copy pasting back, hitting submit. That's all you're doing.
Now, let me just explain a little for my audience here, because this is like, there's a lot going on here. This MetaMask is a thing I started with, because if you want to do anything, I've mentioned MakerDAO. I like this MakerDAO thing that's blowing up. You need this MetaMask in order to use a lot of Ethereum things that are happening, obviously including this. And these are the things that this is like not fun. This is when you sit down and you do some work instead of day trading, right? And you want to be an entrepreneur, spend some time to figure out, you got to take, this is not fun to do the Electrum address. Do you think I want to figure out how to get a wallet, move things over? And the MetaMask, fortunately, that's set up, but get all this stuff working up. And this is what Richard's talking about, is it's free money, but you have to you have to get off your ass. And if you wait until he says, okay, the snapshot's in 5 days, I don't know how much warning you'll give on the date, but don't be the idiot.
If you don't want the free money, if you don't want the free money, just market buy it when it's on the exchange, or come to the chat room and find somebody that wants to sell it to you. You don't have to claim your free money. From my perspective, I want this price to go up. Every single parameter of this is designed to make the price go up and stay up, right? That's everything this is designed to do. It's got every pumpamental there is, except fake partnerships and minimum buy-in on minimum staking amount. We didn't do that, right?
Wait,
so those are the only
no partnership press releases.
No fake ones. Yeah, no press release of a upcoming press release.
From the XRP Army, I want a new link every day so I can post it on random topics all over social media.
Lol. Yeah. I'm trying not to pick on other coins anymore, since they're the market now.
You're not taking. Come on.
So my point is, if I can't give you free money, fuck off. Fine, you don't get free money. Cool. The reason I care about giving you free money is because it makes my graph look better, right? It makes my metrics look better, and there's a chance that you'll buy more.
So the point I wanted to make too is that there's this setting up MetaMask. I just know if people are like me, it's like, oh God, setting up MetaMask, this does not sound fun. But you take the time, you invest in it, and it's not only for this, but a lot of things that are happening with Ethereum. It's a cool thing to have set up, and just put aside a day or two, watch some YouTube videos, how to set it up, watch that first, sit down. You got to record.
I have a video on how to set up your MetaMask that's 6 minutes long total.
Great.
And it shows you how to make your affiliate link to make 20% on other people's claims.
Oh, I have a question about the affiliate link as well. Yeah, so watch that video and then just think about it, and then come back and watch it again, and then do it. You know what I mean? And it might not even take you that long. And if you watch his video, you see you have to record things, whatever. Listen.
By the way, your 3 address, I'm 90% sure we're going to make it so that you can claim without doing all this movement. But in that 2% that I can't.
I sort of like having a simple address that doesn't check, because I don't have a public address. It's kind of annoying. Can you have multiple addresses within your Electrum too, if I want to?
Sure. Electrum's the best. Electrum is the best wallet, in my opinion. Okay.
So next question is, what if so this thing is a smart contract, the way I understand it. You're writing this code, you put it up there, and that's it.
Yep.
If there's a bug or something you want to change, you can't do it, right? Or do you have to get everyone to move to it?
Kind of. Yes. You would airdrop the old token holders before the thing screwed up to a new system that worked properly. Is how that would work, right? So EOS wanted to launch a new token. So they're like, all right, we're going to have an ERC20. And then they made a few $1 billion on their ERC20. And then they airdropped the new token to those holders, right? And TRX did the same thing with their $1 billion project. So if it goes wrong, you can airdrop the system state before the error to a fixed system. So it's fixable. It's, someone has to fix it, but it's definitely fixable.
Okay. And for people watching, I'm going to get to the chat questions when I get to ask my questions first. So how's it? So if I claim, whenever you have this claim day, or you have a snapshot day, and then the claim is how much longer after that will that launch to claim?
I think 2 weeks is a pretty standard notice period. That, you know, if you're going to quit your job, you give 2 weeks notice. That's why it's called give 2 weeks. So there's a lot of. I'm happy with a 2 week period, right?
You're going to warn 2 weeks ahead of the snapshot, or
I'm going to give you as much. I think that the minimum amount of warning I'm comfortable with giving on almost anything is 2 weeks. So I would be very surprised if you didn't have a 2 weeks warning to get your coins into a one address or a BC1 address before the snapshot.
You take the snapshot. How long after that will the claim button be up?
Maybe half a day, maybe a day, because there's processing that has to happen. So once we take the snapshot, we have to manually reduce the whale's balances and make it so they get less money if they claim. We have to manually remove the Mt. Gox coins. So
and I've heard you say a whale is over 1,000 tokens?
1,000, yeah. If you don't want to get hit with a whale penalty of 50% to 75% from 1K to 10K plus, then you need to take your coins and just send them into wallets that are less than 1,000. That's why I call it the silly
whale free. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. So we call it a silly whale penalty because you could have avoided it if you'd listened. You didn't want to listen, so now you're going to pay everybody else. And your coins that you can't claim, they're going to get sent to everybody that's staking, right?
When you claim them, when you claim them, do you immediately get the token and then and there, or is there claiming?
As soon as your transaction hits the blockchain, your claim to get the tokens, when it is run on the blockchain, it also gives you your tokens at the exact same time.
And that
Not
goes
exact
right
same. There's probably some millisecond difference.
So that token, and what is it going to be? BTHX?
BHX, I think.
What is it?
I would like it to be hex, but there's too much brand confusion. So there's already other stuff that has that word.
Okay.
So BHX doesn't have other confusion, right? If I talk to the exchanges and they're like, yeah, we think we're cool with you taking the HEX ticker, I'd be like, all right, I take that.
So whatever the ticker is, it's just going to appear in your MetaMask.
It's BHX now, right? But if some exchanges convince me that a different one, a superior one is available, then I'll take that one. So it's BHX now. If we look at the landscape and hex looks viable, I'd probably take that one over BHX.
So then you immediately then have the option also to start doing the staking. So in other words, I claimed I got my tokens.
Yep. You can immediately
now
stake.
I can say, okay, and I want to lock this up for this long.
As long as you have some gas to pay your transaction fees, yeah.
If I have 10 Bitcoin, can I lock one for a year, one for 6 months?
There's no Bitcoin locking. You can sell your Bitcoin.
If I have 10 BitcoinHEX, can I lock one hex for a year, one hex for?
Yes. You can do multiple stakes on the same address.
And so if I'm on the first week, which is, that's what I do. So I have it. I would definitely want to lock it up for something because there's no selling. Like there's not on any exchanges.
Exactly.
At some point, it would be you want it to be on exchanges.
I can say that it's very likely that this will. So the people from IDEX reached out to me and said they wanted to list it. So that
you think on day one there could be trading.
There could be. Apparently, these DEXs can list any ERC20 without any input from anyone in a rather permissionless manner. So it's very likely that will be quick. But I mean, who knows? Maybe a fake IDEX guy reached out to me, but it seemed legit to me, and I'm pretty good at catching the old scammers. So I don't think that this. I think we'll do well in this area.
Okay. Now the next thing is the referral link.
Yeah.
So first, is that so? I already went to your website. So let me explain to people listening. If you have an Ethereum public address, it's like BitcoinHEX.com / like your address or something, or is there a claim / or what's the referral link that you just put
all you do like most affiliate programs and referral programs require you to do some type of sign up. I've never seen anyone do it the way that I'm doing it. I think it's pretty innovative and cool. Maybe someone else has done it. It's sign up free. There is no sign up. You instantly create a referral link. If you copy paste your Ethereum address to the end of the URL, doesn't matter what URL, right? Anything on BitcoinHEX.com's website. And all you have to do is in between the website name and your link, you just put $R equals. That's it.
So BitcoinHEX.com/?R equals my
Ethereum
public
Yep.
Ethereum address.
Yep. And in that 6-minute video, 5-minute 40, it shows you how to check that the cookie got written, right? So when you go to claim, the claim tool looks to see, okay, is this guy referred? Okay, he is referred. Okay, inflate the currency 20% of that guy's claim and pay it to the referrer.
And that needs to be the same, or does it even need to be the same Ethereum address of the MetaMask would be a different address, or it needs to be the same?
It doesn't matter. So if you use an Ethereum address you just made up, however you made it up, that Ethereum address is going to get paid.
But those affiliate commissions will go to that Ethereum address,
right.
Whereas the claim ones will go to the MetaMask one.
Right. Or you could just use the same address for both. The only downside to that is that if someone knew that you were promoting an affiliate link, they could see how much you got paid. And then if you also claimed to that, then they could see how much you claimed. But they wouldn't, it's like,
yeah.
Most people don't do the secure, like all you would need to do is just make 2 accounts in MetaMask, and then you could refer from one and claim from one, and you'd be totally good to go.
Right. And when does it grab this? Because I already went to your website, just when I first saw you. So I had no referral link. Now
right.
I show up. Is it just when you go to the claim page that you use?
So the referral link only gets set if you click a URL that had an Ethereum address at the end of the URL. So it sounds like you don't have a referrer set.
What if I set one and then I come back with another one? Does it overwrite?
It overwrites it, yeah. Most smart people will probably refer themselves and take the free extra 20% money.
Yeah.
But a lot of people won't. So there's good money to be in referring, right? Like you make a lot of money referring. Like a lot of people shop on Amazon and they're not signed up as an affiliate on Amazon, but they could be. So, this concept of not referring yourself happens a lot more often than referring yourself does.
Right. All right.
So it happens, and it gets pulled on the claim tool. So when you use MetaMask to perform your claim, it just looks at the URL that you used, right? And then it's like, oh well, we're going to pay that guy 20%.
Okay, so those were my boring questions. Let me look in the chat here. There's boy. I mean, let's see. People talk about other topics.
I'm wearing a black shirt, so no one's talking about my boobs today, I bet. What a miracle. I should just wear black all the time.
Looking sharp. Ask Richard why he programmed in the originator address to end up with approximately 40 to 45% of all tokens in supply.
I don't think it'll end up with that much.
What is it? I don't even understand the question.
Sure. So every single cryptocurrency pays people that were in earliest more than everyone else, right? So Satoshi got to mining before anyone else knew about the project. So he got a giant bag of tokens, right? Some new coins, they just pre-mine the tokens, which is like, oh, we're going to start 10,000 blocks ahead, and we just have those blocks, and they're our money for paying the developers to build this thing. Other people try and look more trustless and look more fair by stealth launching. They pretend to market and just talk about it a few places that they can reference later, and then they mine a shitload of tokens, and then they kind of tell people, oh, hey, by the way, guys, we got this project here, right? People are getting paid, right? Like,
but this guy's saying in the original, it's almost like a pre-mine, that you're taking 40 to 45%.
It's different. So I'm explaining to you what the standard of the industry is, and I'm explaining to you how this is different. So, and I'm going to declare to you how it all works.
Yeah.
So in a normal system, you either pre-mine or stealth mine or ICO, right? Ain't nobody out there busting their ass, working for a couple years, spending, you know, $1 million building something so that you can make more money on it than they do. That shit's not happening, right? So this concept that like, yo, this project should be invented and exist and be awesome and reward Bitcoin holders so Roger Ver can make more than the founder. No. Roger Ver can go make his own free money, right? So here's how the origin address works. It gets bonuses. If the bonus and incentive structure works well, it gets paid more because it gets a copy of the bonuses. If all the bonuses don't work that well, it gets paid less, right? So if people claim earlier, there's more speed bonus. If people refer more friends, there's more referral bonus, right? It
that
doesn't
goes to this 40% pool, you're saying?
It gets
the pool
copied, a copy of it. I'll explain it. So if you claim, it doesn't get anything. If you stake and get paid interest, it doesn't get anything. It only gets a copy of the bonuses. So if you refer somebody and you get paid 20% of their stack, or not their stack, but like a bonus of 20% of whatever they claimed, because they still get paid in full, then this also gets paid that, right? So if you want to know what the origin address is going to make, then you need to figure out how many bonuses are going to get paid. And if you want to know how many bonuses are going to get paid, you need to know what percentage of people are going to claim, how quickly they're going to claim, and how many of them are going to be referred. If you know those things, then you know how many bonuses people are going to get paid, and you're going to know how many
Where is
bonuses
someone coming
that's
up
going to
with
get paid.
40%? I mean, I haven't studied bonuses.
I don't
It's
think that you can know what it's going to get paid without doing a lot of math.
so, for
So
example,
I know that it can't get 50% because it's not getting paid claims and it's not getting paid interest. So if one thing is paying more things and one thing's getting paid less things, the less paid things is always going to be smaller. So there's no way that it could be 50 for sure.
but if you're saying this, that first of all, people claim and people can earn for staking, and that doesn't give this pool anything. No. You're only matching whatever is paid out in bonuses gets matched in this pool.
Right.
Well, the bonuses is not 50% or even what percent of the coins could come through bonuses if everybody bonused out? What percent?
Well, it's kind of, I can give you the maximum number for each thing, but like they fight each other. So if one thing maxes, so let me explain. If no one tells anyone about the project and only one person claims, he gets all the coins, right? Through the We Are All Satoshi redistribution. And because all the coins were redistributed through that, it is a bonus, and therefore a copy would be given to the origin address, right?
Okay. I mean,
impossible, unlikely, right? So what happens, so if people claim really early, the speed bonuses go up, right? Because it goes from 20 down to 0 over 50 weeks. So if people claim earlier, they get more bonuses, and therefore so does the origin address. If people claim later, there's no bonuses at some point, right? Like the last week, there's nothing or darn near nothing, and then it doesn't get those. But if everyone waits till the last week to claim, well, then there was more We Are All Satoshi splitting the coins up, right? Yeah. So it's I don't know the answer. Like I literally
all these lines of game theory, you know.
Well, there's not that many. There's speed, viral. So there was this project called Byteball, and Byteball had this idea of paying unclaimed coins to people that did claim, but it had a critical failure flaw in it. Two, really. One was it was totally centralized. All the coins were just given out by a Russian guy, and one day he just decided to stop giving them out. Okay, can't play with that shit. Two, there was an incentive for no one to tell anyone else about the project because they would get paid more. So I didn't tell anyone about it. I'd figure, all right, I'll wait till it's done distributing and then I'll tell people about it, right? And it destroyed the project. Like, just no one knows about it. It's like it doesn't exist, right? So I thought, how do I overcome that failure that project had where they incentivized people to not tell anyone else about the project? I would overcome it with referral rewards. You don't want to tell someone about it? Fine, someone else will make the referral. You won't get it, they will. How else can we do it? We'll inflate the currency for early adopters, early stakers. The more people claim and the larger they claim. So I invented the virality bonus, which pays you more if more people claim, more UTXOs, right? And the critical mass bonus, which pays you more if larger masses of coins, like more coins claim. So the more people claim and the larger their claims are, the more the currency gets inflated for people who are already staked. So those three things, refer, critical mass, and virality, cancel out the desire to keep it a secret and get more of the we are all Satoshi.
So are you saying that the speed, so there's a speed bonus, which means if you sign up earlier, you get bonuses, that gets matched into the pool. That's one.
It's not a pool, it's just a single address. It's the origin address.
It gets to that address, the origin address.
Yes.
Then you have viral, which is the referral links?
Nope. So the only two things that get paid on hit up front without staking are refer and speed. So if you get in early and you're referred, you're going to make 40% extra. It's actually more than that. It's 44%. So if you claim one Bitcoin
early and referred,
so if
what
you
is
get
early? What is early?
The first day. It was the first week.
At 20% bonus, and it decreases from there.
Right. So you have a 20% bonus if you claim in the first week. Now we've kind of rotated into daily measurements, so days are going to start mattering now. But we're just going to use the model of weeks because it doesn't matter how fast your sampling frequency is. You're going to do it as early as you can anyway, more or less. So if you get in the first week, you're getting a 20% bonus. Then if you self-refer yourself, you're getting another 20% on top of the 20% you already got. So your one Bitcoin turns into 10,000 BitcoinHEX. And then it turns into 12,000 from your speed, and then it turns to 14,400 from your self-referral.
All right, I've got the speed and the referrer bonus, but what is the viral bonus?
So those are the on-hit bonuses. That's all you're going to get unless you stake. You want all the amazing rewards. You want to watch your stack multiply by some X over the next year. Then you need to stake.
That's not a bonus, though. That doesn't go. Is the only thing that goes to the pool the speed and the referrer bonuses?
Speed,
not the pool.
refer.
Yeah.
It gets technically 4 others, and I'll explain them to you. So critical mass and viral are only paid to people that stake, right? So you've got your inflation pool, and that inflation pool also has all of the Satoshi coins that are going into it, the unclaimed ones, right? Mm-hmm. And then that pool gets inflated larger, so it pays people that are staked more with the critical mass and virality bonus that multiply it larger. So you can get 10% more multiplier.
Hold on, is critical mass the unclaimed coins?
No.
Is unclaimed coins a bonus?
Yes. That one's called We Are All Satoshi.
Unclaimed coin. This is...
It's supposed to be this confusing. It's a feature.
So the unclaimed coins could be any amount. I mean, it could
No,
be...
it can't. There's only 17.5 million coins total.
It could be, I mean, sorry, any percent, right?
Sure.
If only 1% of people claim,
yes.
Then that bonus is whatever.
It could be gigantic, right? Yes. If no one claims that We Are All Satoshi will be gigantic.
How does the originator, so if the unclaimed coins are 50%, right, how much goes to the originator address and how much to everybody else?
The speed bonuses would be less because less people claimed. The refer bonuses would be less because less people claimed. The We Are All Satoshi bonus would be more because more coins would be redistributed. The critical mass and virality bonuses would be less because there was less adoption. So they all fight each other.
The We Are Satoshi, which is unclaimed coins bonus, is split. Like, how much does the originator address get of that?
It just gets whatever you got as a bonus, it gets. Your base claim is not a bonus, and your interest is not a bonus.
So it inflates. It divides it between all the people that have it. It gives 100% to them, and whatever that amount was,
it gives an extra copy to itself. So the easiest way to understand this is, okay, you rob Satoshi, you get one of his coins. In a normal criminal relationship, you and your partner in crime, in this case, the inventor of this whole colony system, right? You would split those coins. But isn't it easier if you just get to keep the whole coin yourself and then it just inflates the currency? It's easier, right? I think it's actually mathematically.
let me see if this math is right. If 50% of the coins are claimed, that means the remaining 50% go to everybody.
Redistributed. Yep.
And then,
an extra copy would be created for the origin address.
And you copy that 50%. So technically, you would have.
I think that would be a third.
From that, the originator address would have 30% of coins.
I think, yeah. You do a spreadsheet on those. You can just assume everyone claimed in the first week, and this many percent people claimed. There's already somebody that's done this, I think.
So that's three.
If you Google like BHX calculator, somebody already has a website up that does all this work.
Okay, so I've got speed, refer, and unclaimed. There's one more bonus?
Well, so the on-hit ones that you get paid whether you stake or not are speed and referral.
Yeah.
And you could just claim them and dump the coins, right? Okay. But now you want to make the mad gains. You want to make a multiple. Okay, you need to stake. When you stake, you get interest from the pool, right? So if only 1% of people stake, you're going to get 369% interest. If 10% of people stake, you're going to get 36.9. If 100% of people stake, you're going to get 3.69, right?
And is that also matched to the originator address?
No. Nope. Doesn't get interest.
So this fourth bonus doesn't go to the originator address.
Well, I don't consider it a bonus, right? Like
I thought you said there were 4 bonuses, so I was just looking.
Well, sure. Right. So the other 2 are bonuses and penalties, but they have the same name, right? So if you don't do what you said you would and stay staked, and you end your stake early, that penalty goes half to origin, half to the staker pool. So that's a revenue source, unless you're the one getting screwed by it, and then it's a getting screwed source, right? So don't screw up. So you were in the pool that was going to get rewarded when other people screw up, and now if you screw up, you get nuked, right?
And if you have, so the one risk from all these things, the speed, not everyone's going to do it in the first week, and it's only 20%. Refer, most people don't refer, and it's only 20%. The stop stake also small, but the unclaimed coins is the one I fear could be big.
Sure.
And then you're getting 50%. So that scares me.
It is not possible to get 50%. Not.
Yeah,
if one thing is getting its base claim and its interest, and the other thing is not, it's just getting bonuses, there's no way it can be 50%.
Whatever the math is, that if only 50% claim, maybe someone smart can do the math. If 50% claim, the remaining 50%. What? I mean,
I'll do it. I'll do it in my head with you. But we did it already. But we'll do it again. If 50% of people claim, that leaves 50% of the currency, which let's say it's 17.5 million coins, and it's times 10,000. But we'll just forget the 10,000 for now. Then that leaves about 8.75 million. That need to be redistributed. So the people that claimed had 8.75 million, then they got given 8.75 million of bonus because they were unclaimed, and then the copy of that bonus was given to the origin. So these guys end up with 17.5 million, and that one ends up with 8.5. It's a third. It's a third in that case.
I mean, I just did it by imagine there's 100 coins, 50 goes to the people, 50's unclaimed, the people get the 50, now there's 100, and then 50 gets copied, so now there's 150 of which people have. So that if, let's just say for some reason, all this game theory goes wild and the originator pool has so much, you can still sort of do some sort of distribution and promotion with those tokens.
Well, anyway, the thing is, like,
not the thing to succeed.
So if you look at, no one gives a fuck about the Origin's holdings. So let me explain that to you.
I agree. Stellar, XRP.
Right. Yes. Right. Like, and to tell you the truth,
I don't know that I trust XRP, but Stellar, Jed McHale, and IBM, they probably will distribute them in ways they hope expand the ecosystem. I think that's a positive for the token.
So
theoretically, if you distribute them in a smart way, that doesn't help.
So all right. Here's how that goes, right? It can be good and bad based on your time frame. They can both be true at the same time, right? So XRP has 40% of its tokens on the market, 60% off the market. Top 10 crypto. Top 5 maybe. Top 2, actually. So can you be top 2 and have some founder people holding 60%? Yup. that's top 2 right now. Okay, Stellar, number 9, 80% held by a foundation, right? Now you say, okay, they're going to try and enhance adoption and all that shit. Okay, maybe, but is giving $25 to each blockchain.info user smart?
What is $25 per blockchain? I don't know what that means.
That's what they did. That's what their foundation just recently did. They just gave $25 of free Stellar to everyone on blockchain.info.
I think
so
they
if you think just randomly picking some service provider and giving $25 to each of their users is the right way to kickstart crypto, I don't know about that shit. I'm not feeling it. Like, and I don't know that I want to buy a big bag of something where I hope that some guy in Silicon Valley decides which one of his buddies that runs a blockchain company he's just going to hand a shitload of free money to, and he knows when it's going to happen, so he can that shit don't seem trustless to me, man. You know?
Right. But I think Stellar with IBM, they're trying to be the on-ramp for the
IBM's a fail mode, dude. So IBM's terrible.
If the central bank wants to use XLM, they say, okay, we'll give you 15%. Like,
you realize IBM's terrible, though, right? Do you use a single IBM product? Do you have an IBM product in your house? Do you use IBM software? No, you don't. You know who else doesn't? Fucking nobody.
You know who does?
Giant companies that are locked in and have no choice.
Well, thanks.
Not even.
They need to upgrade, and this is their upgrade solution. Listen,
So we'll go back. The main point was, can a
percentage to Stellar, but I think there's a chance that
I could say good things about Stellar. I just don't believe in that. Like, yo, this other guy over here is going to decide who gets handed out the money. Like, fuck
well,
that
it's a
guy.
foundation. Like, IBM trusted, and I agree. IBM, anyways.
Listen. IBM is the USSR of companies. They had every type of opportunity. They had first mover advantage. They had huge mass. And they've just been getting annihilated. Like,
what about blockchain supply chain they're doing? You have any insight?
It's the worst, sure. Digital ledger technology is amazing and worthless. It is a fucking advanced Excel spreadsheet. It requires no economic mass.
Walmart and Maersk and all these companies are doing things and saying, we did a test, it works well. And
right. The reason that they just did a test is because this shit's horrible. It's the slowest possible. Like, blockchains are the worst database in the world. The only reason for anyone to ever use a blockchain is if they absolutely must, because they absolutely need censorship resistance. Who is trying to censor your shipping transaction data? Fucking nobody. Okay, so you don't need censorship resistance, you just need trust? Well, that's why we have logs, right? And you just publish the logs. Like, there's no advantage to a blockchain whatsoever. We've already figured out auditing and logs. Like, how do you think the CIA operates? Like, this shit's been figured out for 50 years.
I hear you. There's a lot going on in this space. It's hard. It makes me think maybe something is happening. I agree with. I hear what you're saying, and that makes sense.
It could all be amazing, but it doesn't require economic mass. You don't like if you want anonymity, you can take one Monero and just keep cycling it until you've moved all of this into a clean new thing, with a tiny little bit iterating it. If you want amazing digital ledger technology, you can do all of that cool shit with one little tiny bit of token. You don't need economic mass. If you want your coin to pump and you want the price to go up, you need people to need a reason to buy more of it, right? And that's the reason cryptocurrencies are the only successful use case for blockchains, period. Because this currency...
My thing that I think is happening in the next year here, the use case, there's two things. One is yours here, which is sort of risk-free, if you believe in the token, interest, a decent interest rates, and also borrowing, using it as collateral to borrow against. Those are two big use cases that are happening and growing more and more. And you're in the earning interest category. And then MakerDAO is, you can borrow. I can borrow at a 0.5% interest rate, dollars off of my Ethereum.
The other neat thing is that, well, first, no one's done this before. So do staking coins exist where you get rewarded for staking? Sure. How are they different? You can unstake whenever you want. So they don't pump the price. As soon as some bullshit goes down, everyone gets the fuck out. They're like, oh, I'm out. In this system, dude, when you're in, you're in. You ain't getting out. And then the price just keeps going up. And everyone else is in and they ain't getting out, right? And if they do get out, guess who gets paid? The origin and the pool. So even if there was no interest And it was just a speculative experiment. People getting in and then ejecting because life is hard is going to pay all those people that had stamina, right? So like this shit has so many good points to it. So not only can you, that's the value ratchet, right? So the truth engine and the value ratchet are part of the Pumpamentals. Another thing is that no one has ever paid more interest for longer lockups like a normal CD in the real world. So I modeled the increase in interest that you receive by locking up for longer time frames directly from the average rate of return on certificates of deposit in the United States. You get about 20% more interest every extra year that you lock up. Now, their interest rates that they give out are extremely low because they're artificially low because the Fed gives out money for free. So they can't charge a normal interest rate. So they charge an extremely low interest rate because they get the money for free from the Fed.
Fed gives money for free, but not to you and I. So that's why this is better.
Right. So my point is I modeled the same increase in payment over longer stake periods that they use there, but it just starts at a much higher base rate, right? And then it uses the pool model to amplify the base rate even more. You'll get paid much more or less as a staker based on how many other stakers there are than on the actual inflation rate.
Okay.
Like that.
Let me go some more questions here. What's the minimum to get started? I think it just doesn't matter.
Nothing.
There's no.
It's free. You could claim one Satoshi, which is 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin. You can claim that.
And okay, now someone says, what problem is this solving? And this is an interesting I have two theories on why this is not just purely stupid. One is this whole field of game theory is super interesting. I think it gets applied to almost every token. I talk about, there's this storage, which they're trying to be, distributed storage, and they have a token. They use the token. Well, what if they just attach some game theory to that token? Does that make the project better?
What if you just fork it and leave their fee out? So,
well, I don't want to get into storage. The point here, two things. One is that your project really brings to the people's consciousness about game theory. You have cool game theory, and people just get into it, and you think, oh, it's stupid. They're just playing a pyramid game. But at the same time, I thought that FOMO.
Everything's a pyramid game.
Yeah,
the fucking stock market's a pyramid game.
And I think you're educating people on game theory, and there's a value there. The other value I'm not sure about is just money communicates to the economy and what we're doing, and you're forcing people to communicate how long they want to lock up money.
Yeah.
Maybe that has value. Like, I don't know, because you can't use that. But like, I understand if I save money somewhere,
lets you know the future state of the system more reliably.
Use that money, but if I just lock up money, is that adding value, or just is just the concept of seeing who's locking up where adds value?
There's a ton of really innovative, powerful things here. So a couple you've mentioned. First of all, in a normal lending system, you need to find a person that wants to take out the loan, hope they service their loan, and then return back the money, and then you end up with profit, right? And there's a lot of overhead. In this system, you can call it virtual lending, in that when you stake your coins, you virtually lended the value of your coins to all the unstaked coins, because your coins can't trade, but their coins can. So virtual lending to people who haven't staked their coins, because any reasonable person that doesn't really want to spend their coins would obviously just stake them and take the free interest, right?
Can you say that? This virtual lending, that's a new.
I got a bunch of cool keywords here. So virtual lending, truth engine, value ratchet, Pumpamentals.
So if I lock it up,
it drives up the value of all the unlocked coins
to the people who don't have it locked up.
Yes.
And so in a sense, I'm lending to them. That's interesting.
Yep. So another thing is, in any other currency, whether it's dollars or masternode coins or proof of stake coins, you don't reliably know the future state of the system, because people can do whatever they want, get out whenever they want. In this system, you know what the future supply is going to be that's circulating, because you have a graph that shows you this many coins are coming off stake at this time. And it allows you to make better decisions on how to interact with the system, because everything is public and everyone knows who's doing what, right? You know how many coins are coming out of stake. You know how many coins are being minted.
Right.
You know what the average return of the people before you were. You know what the average penalty that people are paying are, right? And one of these penalties may never get paid, right? If someone once every 2 weeks just runs everyone's end stakes and pulls them out of the share pool, then no one will ever pay that penalty. Now, there's a small fee to do it. And as long as the fee is small, maybe some nice person will always run it once every 2 weeks for everybody, and no one will ever pay the penalty. Or maybe one day fees are high and they don't. Or maybe no one does it because they just want people to screw up and get the pool paid more. I don't know. I'm excited to find out, right? Another innovative thing that it does is we need a digital trustless peer-to-peer analog for every feature that the real financial system has. The real financial system is not serviced well enough by just currency. If Bitcoin acting as a currency were enough to replace the existing financial system, you wouldn't have $1 billion Coinbase, and you wouldn't have $1 billion BitMEX, and you wouldn't have $1 billion Binance. It turns out that what people really want and really need, you can't just do with a currency. People need loans, people need interest, and a single currency can't do that. And it wasn't designed to do that, and it won't do it. So Bitcoin only does 3 things: send, receive, and mine. And if you want to mine, you got to send your money to a weird country, hope they send you some equipment that hasn't already been used, hope that the difficulty is not too high, hope that you can break even on it. That's a lot of hope and a lot of waiting. In this system, instead of sending your money off to go buy a mining machine, right, and go pollute the environment, which is what you're doing, right? Oh, we're polluting it less. Yeah, but you're still polluting it, right? Some fish used to live, or like there used to be some trees where you flooded that area to create that hydropower, right? Now it's just a lake. So instead of paying money to miners to make a return on your investment, instead of giving your money to an exchange, which gets hacked all the time, to lend your coins out for margin traders to try and make interest on your coins, why don't we just hold them in the smart contract? Let the trustless smart contract that invented the coins hold them and pay you the interest. It will always be able to fulfill its obligations. It's paying you with something that it invented. You don't have to lose money on paying the electric bills. You don't have to lose money to the exchange when it gets hacked. You can make a return on your investment. And it's just better to pay holders instead of miners. When miners compete
The other thing you're doing, in a sense, is you're just leveraging Ethereum, unabashedly. Like everybody's
right.
trying to
We'll be the first successful DApp. There is no other successful DApp on the project. When we are successful, we'll be the first reason that shit has had a good reason to exist.
DAO is pretty successful. 200 billion value locked up.
Sure, could be.
In 1 year.
Then if you want to call it second, I'm okay with it.
Okay, good.
I think our market cap will be a lot higher than 200 million. So when I told you earlier, I'm like, there's a lot of reasons that I could say, hey, look how awesome this is, and like, we want to allow Bitcoin communication on the Ethereum network with more DEXs and, all this other good stuff. Okay, that's feel good and sounds good, but then we've got the dirty, like, here's the other reason, right? People like, if you're considered a potential alternative to Bitcoin, you're going to be valued very highly, right? And so I'm happy to pivot off of the Bitcoin name as soon as I don't have to appeal to these handing out free money people anymore, like Bitcoin holders. Like, oh, okay, I don't have to give out free money anymore. Great, let's pivot to something that's just hex related, like hex whatever, and I don't have to have the word Bitcoin in there anymore. And then when we're near them in the top 10, it'll be easier to overtake them. As long as we have Bitcoin in the name, it's going to be hard to overtake because people are going to be like, oh, well, you're not the first one. Why overtake, right? So I'm happy to pivot off the Bitcoin name 25, 30 weeks out. But for now, it's really useful because if we hit exchange and we're considered a viable alternative or superior alternative, we should trade at a very high market cap, right? Like, do you think Bitcoin SV, which just got created, should be a top 5, top 7 coin? I don't, but it is. So, okay, well, that's the game we're playing. Well, there's room for another Bitcoin in the top 5 then, right? If we're going to have 2 or 3 of them up there, right? If we're going to have 3 Bitcoins in the top 10, we got room for a 4th, right? And then they can die because their game theory's fucked up. So what's wrong with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV? They gave giant bags of coins to the Mt. Gox trustee to dump on their head, which he did. Satoshi, what has Satoshi done for you lately? Does he deserve some extra free money from you? Does he need that? Is that good for the world? You're stupid. If you do a new fork or a new coin and you reward a bunch of parties that the only thing they do is dump on your head, you're an idiot, right? So Bitcoin Cash went from a high of 50% the value of Bitcoin down to 3.5% today because the game theory was all fucked up.
Well,
They gave
so
out too
Bitcoin,
many free coins.
talk about Bitcoin Cash too much, but their whole, they took the least desirables of the Bitcoin community, and then
You
their
can't choose your
philosophy
fans,
is
though.
all
You can't
scaling
choose your
will be
fans.
on chain, which is not workable. Like, just fundamentally, I think it's.
They had 50% of the hash rate for a day. You know, they took the swing at the king, and then the greatest what was that great quote from Usual Suspects? How do you shoot the devil in the back? What if you miss? That's what they did to Bitcoin. Roger Ver and Jihan tried to shoot Bitcoin in the back, and Bitcoin said no, right? And now they get more cancer attacking them. So like, they were the primary cancer, but then the cancer got cancer. SV got them. Like, it's I don't know, man. If someone does evil, like if live by the sword, die by the sword, like turns you on, it's nice to see that something bad happened to them for doing something so bad.
All right. Let's do a couple more questions here. Someone wrote, I can create an ERC20 token in 2 seconds, free money. Yeah, not all money's worth anything. And the idea is that this one, he's putting some work into it. He's not just hitting the ERC20 button.
No, like you will find out that you are dog shit at marketing, and you will pay $8 to get $1 of users, and then you'll lose money and you'll shut the fuck up. Like, it turns out that making systems that can thrive and go viral is extremely hard to do. Like, there's teams of very, very intelligent people that spend all year trying to make one viral video, and they maybe achieve it once every 3 years. Virality is hard.
There's this John McGuffett, if you're still on. Wait. Okay, so he's saying here that I should stop kissing your ass. And,
my ass feels very dry.
And there's what's that?
My ass is very dry. You should wear chapstick or something.
Yeah, at least. Feel the something about the red flag. A fatal hidden flaw. Oh, he's still with the originator. I think we explained that thoroughly.
Yes, totally. Lumens has 80% in a foundation. XRP has 60% in a foundation. It's going to be totally earth-shattering horrible to have like 20 or 30% in origin address, so that someone might actually be able to afford to do some fucking marketing if they wanted to.
What I would do, if you were an ICO, what I would tell my viewers is, do not buy this. You wait 6 months. If it's going good, then you get in. But it's free. You get more by getting in early. So I say get in early. If it fails, whatever. Yeah, you spend 20 minutes trying to figure out MetaMask. Okay, for free. And if it works, if it's a top 10 coin, and I've seen shit up there, you got free money.
Here's the funny part.
You wasted 20 minutes. I wouldn't buy it early. I wait to see. Like I always tell people, wait to see. Look, what's the adoption rate? I always say, is it launched? Is it decentralized? And how's the adoption rate? Before you buy. But to take something for free.
Sounds like good advice.
Yeah.
So here's my opinion. I spent all of 2017 trying to stop people from getting scammed. And I had a voice and an audience, and I was on television in a couple different countries, and I was entirely ineffective. And it could even be said that I may have helped those scams scam more people by speaking out against them. So all of you people that dislike my project, I really appreciate you shit-talking it. I really appreciate the personal insults, because some portion of the people that you advise against my project is going to fucking love it against all of your player-hating, haterade. Like, you are probably wrong. You probably bought at 17,000 and held down to 3. You probably got in a year ago. You are probably broke. Your advice is probably very, very bad. There are a lot of scams that you can pick on. There's a fake person that pretends to be Satoshi that's apparently doing very well. Maybe you should spend your time on that guy. Or there's actual Ponzi schemes, or like things that aren't trusted, right? Like things that aren't trustless. There's all types of actual shit that people are going to lose a lot of money on that you could be speaking out against. So by speaking out against my project, 1, you helped me, thanks. And 2, you're wasting your time and their time. Like, you should ideally be saving them from actually bad things. I think this is amazing. These are blockchain things that are open source, that have never existed before, that I invented, and I'm paying dearly to create. And they're free to use, and if you don't like them, don't use them. Like,
So now this guy, he says another thing that's stupid that I like to mention. He said that you're claiming that Ethereum is a store of value. That's not what he's saying. Is that Ethereum is a secure platform from which
I'm happy to
create
see Ethereum go to almost zero as long as my transactions are cheap and secure. I don't care about their bags. I don't own any Ethereum.
I think to secure the network, but he's not. I don't even think you own Ethereum, which I think is crazy.
I don't own any Ethereum. None.
Why not?
I'll have to own a little to like
Bitcoin for Ethereum here. You know, it's fallen a lot. You seeing how good and useful Ethereum is. You know, there is a killer DApp. You think you're going to be another one. I see a lot of things launching. Why not diversify a little from your Bitcoin bag into Ethereum?
Let me explain his fallacy of thought, or it may be smarter than his actual thought. In every ecosystem of business, there's a value chain. And that value chain stores larger, outsized, higher margined amounts in different locations. And as industries tend to age, the substrates, the layers underneath the other ones, become demarginalized because they've been around the longest and had the most competition wearing away their margins. So for instance, is Amazon a very profitable company? Yes. Do they own distribution? Do they ship their own products? No. Do they own the roads that their products are shipped on? No. Do they own the packet switches that switch the IP packets to their network? No. They don't care about any of those lower substrates that have no margin. For the same reason I don't care about Ethereum's margin. It is just a substrate that I'm using for trustlessness. And if it sucks and it fails, I will pivot and airdrop into the 6 or 7 other networks to support Solidity contracts. And if they pivot and suck, then I'll hard fork into my own code that has the same game theory. All I care about is my game theory executed in a trustless manner. Trustlessness is cheap now, okay? Listen, Dogecoin, very, very, very old fork of Bitcoin. Works fine. No one's losing any money. Ethereum, no one's losing any money. The people that are losing money aren't losing it on the Ethereum network. They're losing it in the extra crap they're doing on top of it, right? So a lot of people don't get this idea that you can build on top of something else and that thing can stay broke and you can get really rich. Figure it out, guys.
But can I ask you about your portfolio, what you hold? I mean, is it just Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, BitMEX short to hedge, US dollars.
So that's you don't own any other tokens.
I got a bag of fucking Prime coin.
Nice
bag of fucking, yeah, a guy I know, smart guy, capable guy, said he was going to improve that coin and launch it and do a merge fork with Bitcoin. And the last time he did the same thing, it did like a 30 or a 40x over a couple months. So he started doing it, and then he stopped doing it, and then he gave up. So
one thing, I mean, I like doing videos. I started doing it because I was studying what's happening, and then I would make a video, and it would make me organize my thoughts and think deeper. And then I make them put a video, and I'm like, I better follow my own advice. I feel like with you, you're really sort of like, geez, Ethereum does this well and that well. I'm doing this on Ethereum. They have all these things. And there has to be some value in the token in order to secure the network that you would want to.
Yeah, but as long as there's other bullshit pump and dump. As long as there are other bullshit pump and dump ICO things that make people keep mining it, fine with me. If that stops happening and the price gets too low to remain secure, then miners can just accept my token.
I'm just talking about you personally. Why aren't you selling some of your personal Bitcoin to buy some Ethereum to diversify because of what you know about what's going on?
I don't like the Ethereum price. There is no successful DApp for Ethereum whatsoever. None. And there's a lot of development teams.
MakerDAO in 1 year has locked up 200 million in value, 2% of the Ethereum tokens, 200 million in value. And this DAI, stable coin is a hot thing, and it's up to whatever it is now, 70 million, but the chart looks great. It's only been 1 year. How is that not a killer DApp?
Well, sure. Okay, we'll give them 2. But look, the Ethereum network only makes profit. So as a speculator, what is more likely to make you money? Getting in something for 0 and just holding it, or getting in after something has 100x'd and hoping you can get an extra 2x out of it. So you're always going to get a higher percentage return on things that you get in at almost the beginning than any honest project, period. Because you're not going to know it's an honest project until it's got a lot of users and a lot of hype and a lot of press, and you trust it. And now its gains possibility have been greatly reduced. Ethereum made more money in a shorter period of time than Bitcoin did, even though Bitcoin was a better project that has been around for longer. And everyone that I advised to not buy Ethereum, I fucked over because I was technically right at the time, but speculatively wrong, right? So if you give people advice, you have to give them three things. We're talking about technicals? Okay. And those don't have jack shit effect on the price? Correct, right? Like Ethereum Classic, 51% attacked, didn't even bother to lower in the price, right? Zcash, like 3 to 10% actually use the anonymity, 45% per year inflation, 2 inflation bugs were discovered. People still bought the fuck out of it early, and they knew the inflation rate, right? Like the technical accuracy and being right about this stuff does not matter short and midterm. You could go 5 years and have a coin just pump on horrible and stupid, IOTA being one, right? XRP has a revoke function. They could just take your money. They just be like, no, it's not his money. EOS has a revoke function. They just take your money. Like, these aren't even cryptos. These are fake. Like, that's not what crypto is supposed to do. And they pump hard as fuck, right? So do I want to buy a bag of Ethereum? No, I have no interest in buying a bag of Ethereum. I think they have a lot of bills to pay. I think there's a lot of development teams that have big bags of Ethereum, and they're buying runway, and they're going to keep buying runway until their business totally fails from no adoption. But until that day that the account's at zero, they're going to keep selling that Ethereum. So, like, I'm not bullish on the Ethereum price whatsoever. I'm bullish on some shit that came from zero.
Their issuance rate is getting close to what Bitcoin is, but the amount being locked up is even a higher percent, and it makes their issuance even tighter than Bitcoin. So
Sure,
if their inflation is 4%, but 5% is being locked up in a year, then their inflation is -1, which is better than Bitcoin. And,
I mean,
unless
like look at it this way, right? We're talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, which were 1 and 2, right? But Ripple is now number 2, or rotating back and forth 2 to 3, fighting with Ethereum, right? Well, Ripple started way cheaper. So like all the people that did the wrong thing and bought the fake crypto with less distribution, less trustlessness, less possible use cases, right? Ripple ain't going to be the reserve currency of the world. Swift already chose R2 or R3 over Ripple recently, right? Like the currency, the XRP currency, isn't actually required for the Ripple net stuff that banks are actually experimenting with. It's just they're not smart enough to know the difference between Ripple and XRP, right? Probably by design on the corporation's part, right? Please don't sue me. So if you speculatively did the right thing, if you did the right thing technically, you would be destroyed as a speculator, right? You're like, oh, Ripple sucks, I'll short it. Oh, look, now it's number 2. Well, fuck. Oops, right? So like, I don't give a shit about the fundamentals of Ethereum in regards to price. I give a fuck about the Pumpamentals in regards to price. I give a fuck about the utility of the network for my use case, but we're not going to be paying much in fees. We could be the number one most successful, most adopted dApp on Ethereum, and most of our coins are going to lock up, and we'll see you in 5 years when we perform our second transaction.
All right. I got a bunch of questions. I want to try to go through some quickly. Some I can answer. I'm going to try to because I can answer faster than you. And there's like this one here. Can you claim your Bitcoin and then sell it immediately? And I think the answer is just he's going to give a snapshot date. These things do take a little time, and the thing to confirm. Just
once you're in the snap, you can dump.
Do it the day before and then sell it the day after. Like, don't try to time it by the minute, and stress yourself out. But
you can time it by the minute. You can time this by the minute. When the snapshot block has been mined and you see it, you can sell all your coins. That's it.
Right.
Unless there's some weird network fork at exactly that moment.
Only have to have your Bitcoin on chain for the moment of the snapshot, and technically you could do it by the minute, but I don't try to be too.
Well, if you try and shave it too close, you don't know how long it's going to take for the exchange to get it to you, right? So you really do need to buy it early enough to get it off the exchange, right? Like, what if the exchange decides to pause withdrawals that day? Well, you'd be fucked then, right? So on getting out, you don't have a problem. You can send your coins because you're in charge of that network transaction. But on getting in, right, and getting your coins, you're not in charge of the network transaction. You have to beg the exchange to send the network transaction. In that case, there's more variance.
Okay, now a few people asked about XRP, so I'm glad you gave them, is XRP good? We've answered that, please. Let's keep going.
If you were a speculator last year, it was fucking fantastic. Technically, it's a nightmare.
What can I do to make you some money? I don't know. Someone says, this is how you make money if you don't have Bitcoin. You have to own Bitcoin at the time of the snapshot.
If you want it for free, yeah. But you could just buy it from someone.
Then you're not. You do have to buy. You have to buy Bitcoin in order to get it free. Someday, yeah, you could buy this token at a price.
Well, here's a question for you, right? If you're willing to pay the bid-ask spread and the exchange fees to get the token for free, it's not really free to you because you didn't already hold the Bitcoin, right? And so if your exchange fees and the slippage that you pay on your order and the fiat risk that you have holding the token for the period of time that you hold it, if that adds up to like 2%, well, then it'd be a no-brainer to just buy the token for 1% if it was available. But I have no idea what the price is going to be. I have no idea. So I'm just saying that at some point it does make more sense economically. It would be cheaper to buy it straight out if it was cheap enough. But maybe that's a price floor. Maybe the market sees that as a price floor, and they're like, oh, well, this many people worked this hard to get it for free, and we estimate that had this percentage cost. And so I'm not a big fan of using costs to try and predict what the price of a thing is. That's like trying to use...
Someone made a comment here. If Dave goes in, I'll invest. So again, I would not advise anyone to invest other than a little bit of time here that it might take.
You can't even invest if you want to. The fucking coin doesn't exist yet. So
until you see this thing, we'll know 6 months in, a year, you'll see it's either going and maybe decide if it's got legs. But you don't have to. Maybe you don't want to wait.
I would give you a caveat.
It doesn't cost anything. These are the things you want to take advantage in life. That's stuff that's just your work. Especially, I got a lot of young guys who waste their day trading and doing other silly things. Spend 20 minutes to get some free money. Maybe you get lucky, and becomes the next.
I want to give you a caveat on that. In most coins, the only thing you care about is their price, because that's the only game metric that you can look at, right? What's it cost? Okay. I guess if you were more advanced, you could look at issuance rate, but that doesn't appear to really affect the market much. High interest rate pumps. Low interest rate doesn't pump. You're like, okay, I guess that's not doing it, right? It seems like virality and hype is what really makes these things go up, apparently, in a 2 to 3 year time frame, even 1 day to 3 year time frame. So in those systems, you can spend your 6 months feeling it out, and that's good advice. In this system, the people that got in for those first 6 months, they got a 20% speed bonus instead of 10% bonus. They got twice as many rounds of that We Are All Satoshi reclaim coin distributions as you did. And guess whose coins they were being redistributed? Yours, if you were a Bitcoin holder and didn't claim, right? So you're not only missing out on the 20% speed and all the other people's redistributions, but now half of your stack is missing because it got redistributed to other people. Everything in this currency is designed to make you want to FOMO, right? If you're one of the first people to stake your coins and you see that 369% calculated payout, if I only get one round of that, that's pretty good. Like it's hard. If you understand the system, it's hard not to want to FOMO it by design. Just saying. All
right. Now someone says here, there's no step-by-step guide on the website. I think that first of all, it hasn't. I think when at some point he's going to announce, here's when the snapshot is, and then here's how to claim, and maybe there'll be more.
There's a step-by-step guide on how to make an affiliate link, because you can start referring people now and getting 20% when they do claim. There will be just as easy as that one guide with less microphone clipping. I was too close to the mic. As soon as I have a good front-end demo from my devs, I could just have them put up a fake front-end demo, but we're so close to launching that I might as well just wait for the real one. And then I'll show you how to claim from your Trezor, how to claim from your Ledger, how to claim from Coinomi which is the wallet I suggest for mobile, not desktop, because you can't sign from their desktop version. You need to sign in order to like claim. I'll do all these guides. It will take me a day. I'm just waiting on the front end, and the snapshot hasn't happened. We're weeks away from it. We have time. Don't worry about that yet. Figure out the game theory and figure out optimal staking times, right?
And someone said you actually, a good point is you don't have to own Bitcoin, because if you just use your Ethereum referral link and you refer a bunch of people who have Bitcoin, then you would get some with never owning Bitcoin.
And by the way, if you buy this stuff, you can stake it and get all those crazy rewards. You don't have to claim to get all the crazy rewards. You just have to buy some or own it or get it. Claiming is one way to get it. Referring is another way to get it. Buying from someone else that claimed referred is another way to get it.
And so I'm just curious on your thing with, what is a token? And I said before, I mean, you said that the trustlessness and game theory. I also think utility helps. It's almost, you can look at it as another type of marketing. Well, people have to get into your game theory in order to use the utility. And maybe your utility is earning interest and you actually have utility. I mean, and maybe there's a thin line between marketing, game theory, and utility. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we have numbers for these things. So in the United States, not the Fed, but I think some branch of Treasury, it's on the FAQ section of the website on BitcoinHEX. They declare how many dollars are in savings account and in time deposits and in money market funds, right? And so in the United States, a CD is only considered a CD and not a jumbo CD if it's under $100,000. And there's $571 billion in CDs in the United States as of 2 weeks ago, under $100,000, and that's just the United States. So if you want to know how much people value locking up their money for a period of time to gain a higher interest rate, it's $600 billion right now in the United States, under 100K. It seemed to be the same ratio in other countries. I looked at Japan. It seemed like the ratio of time deposits to total monetary supply was about the same. So we're talking about many, many hundreds of billions of dollars that are in this system in legacy, and we need a digital peer-to-peer analog for that. So Bitcoin is trying to be the digital peer-to-peer analog to currency. There's more to finance than currency. There's also interest-bearing time deposits. That is our claim to fame. We are the first digital analog of a CD time deposit. If you want to call it high interest savings account, you can, but usually those don't have time locking, so it's a little bit inaccurate. That's a huge use case.
That's a big thing. Ty Lopez talks about this when he's, about, well, if you're going to start a business, find one that has a big market or big percentage of people's budget, and then because you can only get so much of the market if you go after a bigger market, and you're
Peter Thiel's advice is literally opposite of that.
What's that?
Peter Thiel's advice is literally the opposite.
Yes, actually, I'm aware of it. Well, he does say start, in a niche. And
do what doesn't scale.
I think it was more to the point of how much do people spend on this a year?
They're both viable.
But anyways, the store of value, locking up money market is, that's a big market. So you're early. So it's another reason I think we have a chance here.
So Bitcoin send, receive, mine. BitcoinHEX send, receive, trustless interest. Do you want to pay miners and make them rich and make the electric companies rich? And then as they compete more, they have to sell more coins to pay higher electric bills, which hurts the price? Or do you want a virtuous reinforcement cycle where more coins get locked up, so more people see the price go higher, so more coins get locked up, so more people see the highest, and there's no selling for electric bills. We don't have electric bills.
One thing I want to mention, though, just, as Richard said, he owns Bitcoin, and we talk a lot of shit about Bitcoin, and this is better and that. Let's remember that Bitcoin, one thing it does have is that they've got now the pipes to Wall Street. There's Bakkt and Fidelity, and maybe none of those guys are putting their money in Bitcoin. But if the bull starts running again, the Wall Street money, those bags, talk about selling the Bitcoin bags, Wall Street is going to want to buy some. So Bitcoin is good. I believe for this next run.
Could be. There's downside though.
We're talking shit about it, and I think you should have some Ethereum and all this. Nothing wrong with Bitcoin, and it really is the safest. And it's like maybe you pick one that goes up 100x, and Bitcoin only goes up 10x. but for a safe 10x, it's a good place to put some of your money.
So I think that if you're using possible new market adoption and you're into the like wait 6 months to see how it's going, you might want to see more volume there before you give it any credit. Because I said, hey, LedgerX options are coming to make Bitcoin awesome, and they never did any volume, and that was my bad. And
wait,
then
Steve, what volume? What are you talking about?
LedgerX options, Bitcoin options.
No. You're saying if you want to see
I'm saying
adoption,
if you want to credit a new
Wall Street?
onboarding system to be useful for speculation, like, hey, we got this new onboarding ramp, now it's going to be worth money, that's only true if it does volume, right? So you can buy the rumor, sell the news. That works. Yeah. It worked for CME, worked for CBOE. It worked for CME as well, as long as you sold the news and sold 20K. Higher on the futures, 22K in the futures, depending on what exchange. But on round 2, we don't have a news event anymore. We have an actual, okay, the bull's here. Is Wall Street going to buy? Well, first, they're going to list Ethereum as well. They're not just going to list Bitcoin, CME. They've already talked about it. Second, there's going to be more fiat on-ramps that are not Bitcoin, because Brian Armstrong's listing every ERC20 he can find on Coinbase.
Yeah, I think I'm separating. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between most of the viewers, probably on both of our channels, wealth level, my wealth level, and then your wealth level. I think you're trumping me here. And then there's, you're nothing, we can go skiing Christmas in Aspen and you're going to feel very poor. And then, then you've got this Wall Street money, and it's just another level, and they're not going to go through Coinbase. In fact,
they've definitely got the best.
When he wants to put in, I just want to throw in 500,000, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to go into Coin. And he's like, can you just do it for me? I'm like, what am I going to do? Go into Coinbase and hit market? I point him to an over-the-counter trader, but over-the-counter isn't big enough. So these big pipes, it's only Bitcoin, and I heard Fidelity is also doing Ethereum. And you're right. Maybe none of them come on, but
look, I don't want to shit talk Bitcoin. Like, I like it. I'm a maximalish. I like Bitcoin the most, but I can't do anonymity. May never. We couldn't get SegWit. We had to cheat to get it. How are we going to get something harder, more adventurous, right? It can't do trustless interest. It can't do distributed exchange. It can't do sub-tokens on it. Okay, well, I want those things. So I have to like a couple other things that aren't Bitcoin.
I'm going to a carnivory Bitcoin maximalist dinner on Saturday. Do you think I'll get out of there alive?
Look, I love meat. I eat meat all day, every day. I lift weights, and you want to be big, man, you got to eat that protein. Animal protein works great. You can do it with peanut or pea protein or other ways, but it's a little bit harder. And I just don't advertise it. I got more to my identity than what food I eat. Like, it just seems weak to me. It's like, be strong. Don't fucking brag about what you eat. Brag about what your body did with what you ate. Show me your numbers, right? Show me how strong you are, fast you are. I don't give a fuck what you ate for lunch. Like, it's
well,
weak.
I don't know how old you are, but I think you said you're 40-ish.
No.
Having no pain. That's I'm all about. I don't need to be stronger. I never have a problem. Like, I wish I was stronger. How
my
about
elbows hurt like fuck? My elbows hurt really bad.
Have you seen Tom Brady? He's an expert. I always tell people only listen to experts. And pliability, rolling out your muscles, dude. I couldn't move my knee. I thought I'd never run again.
Yeah.
Roll, Tom Brady roller, vibrating hard with ridges.
Nice.
Do that shit.
For a guy that sold sex toys, that sounds pretty hot.
It's a vibrator, and if I don't have my roller, I can always pull out a big vibrator and just roll on.
I have a Sibian, dude. I have every toy, man. I got a Rossilator. I got a Sibian.
You are old school. That's
right.
That was
We
hot.
Vibe 2. What else? I got one that it only does the air sucking one.
Oh, that's the
Womanizer. The Womanizer W500.
Now there's 20 copies under other names. For those who don't know, we call it vibrating suction.
It's really the best.
Orgasm and
it's the best.
It's like ridiculous.
I've tested all these things. That is the go-to best.
You probably know more than I do. People think, I got into it because the margins were high and there was no competition. I don't know anything about. Someone once emailed me. They're like, "Hey, do you sell penis pumps?" I'm like, "What the fuck is a penis pump?" I called the guy. Like, "Do we have penis pumps?" Yeah. Put it up on the website. And people started buying them. I didn't know what it was. People would email me like, "What is that thing?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just adding shit from the catalog." I didn't know what a cockroach
I've
vibrating.
got rich guy problems.
I'm seeing that and going, I have no idea what that is.
For you guys that don't know what a Sibian is, it's like a $1,200 sex toy that looks like a little doghouse that you sit on. And it goes like this, and it vibrates, and it's pretty neat.
More than 1,200. Yeah.
It depends on how many accessories you get.
They don't distribute. We couldn't. I can't. We don't have it on the site. Geez, I should have promoted on my channel Valentine's, and we have a coupon. Sextoy.com.
Right.
If you need anything, Richard.
I got everything you can buy, dude. I have no more space. I have shit I've never used yet. Like,
I mean, it looks like you're in a dungeon right now. I can't even imagine.
You just buy antiques, man. Like this thing's from the 1700s, and it's.
I'm gonna be moving soon.
It will outlive me. Puppy, it was just me. My dog's like, hey, someone's here. I don't tell anybody. I don't want any fanboys coming asking me for loans.
Can you tell me what country you're in?
I could say Europe.
Okay, interesting. Where are you from originally?
It's cold here. Originally Miami.
Huh, cool.
So like I spent 20 years in Miami, and I know what a violent shithole it is, and I don't enjoy it. And so I went on vacation to places where you could live like a king and have a giant mansion and watch the dolphins swim in the morning. And then I got the shit robbed out of me there too. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to live in hot countries anymore. I don't want to live where like there's so much crime and people are like violent. So now I just go good places. So like when I go on vacation, I look and I'm like, yo, how's the crime rate? Because I don't want robbed. Like I'm done with that shit. I'm done with wearing a vest and carrying a gun and playing Wild West in Miami. It's not any good. Like you don't win.
So you were in the late 90s, 2000s. You were doing just marketing affiliate programs. That's how
pretty
you made
much, yeah. Anything we could sell. So we had miracle cleaners, sex toys, cash advance loans, mortgages.
I saw something about Viagra.
You name it.
I remember that one.
Anything we could sell. So
yeah, that I remember for a minute. That was like
it was big.
Crazy.
Everything like. Everyone was making a lot of money back then because it was new, right? And then
you just one day said, "Forget, I'm done. I got enough money," and you closed it.
Pretty much, like sold it. So I grew up with nothing, right? Like nada, and then you think, oh well, when you make your first million, it makes things better. It makes things worse. Maybe some people had a better experience with it than I did. But you just like start losing friends. Everyone starts robbing you. Everyone's trying to get a piece of you. And then it's just more stress. And you're eating at the same restaurants. Like the difference between making $100K a year and $1 million a year, you're still eating at the same restaurants. And maybe you drive a better car, but you drive it a lot less because you're busy trying to make that next million, right? Like it doesn't make anything better. So like if you look at the studies, if you make 75K a year, that's the most happiness you can get out of money. And then everything above that is, if it works out good for you, great, but it's not likely to work out better, happiness-wise, right?
Yeah, I had something without getting into details where I could have more money had I done something else, but and it seems like a decent amount. And I thought, well, okay, what would I be doing differently if I wasn't losing this money? It was like, well, I guess I would buy that new stroller for $500. I'm like, well, that's not going to add up. And it was nothing. And it was like, well, maybe am I going to get a bigger real estate? It wasn't even that. And you realize
your stuff begins to own you. So like if you truly want the best stuff, it takes a good 3 to 6 months to become a domain expert and to feel good and confident that you really got the right thing. And that's a small amount of time frame depending on what you want to buy. And then your stuff owns you, right? So there's very few things that you can know you had the absolute best for a reasonable amount of money, which is why I'm a proponent of the best possible speakers, the best possible monitor, the best possible keyboard, because you can get all those things for under 10 grand. Like you can get a pair of Genelec 8351s for maybe $8 grand.
Because you have, I mean, I don't know how much money you have. I'm sure it's in the millions, but was it just, there's a few million, I don't need any more, or you're...
Yeah, like you don't need to do, you really don't need to go double-digit millions unless you're just try-harding. Like single-digit millions is more than enough to do whatever you want and just do lifestyle. It's like lifestyle business is fine. You don't have to like sacrifice 5 years of your life trying to get scale to add an extra couple zeros to your balance for time you'll never get back. Like, you kind of should enjoy what you're doing because you're not going to get that time back, right? So if you can make like $5 million doing something you like, or 15 or 20 million doing something you don't like, fuck that extra 5, 10, 15 million dollars. You don't, for what?
As
Right?
well
If
as
you
you know, how many, like my toy business now, I got hired a CEO to run it. I didn't like the toy business. I was just like, I don't want to be working at this. Well, now I own it. It makes money, but I only have to work an hour a week.
It's better.
Like literally, we have
better.
one meeting, and that's all I have to do. Now I love the business, right? For an hour a week, it's great. 40 hours a week, I want to kill myself.
Yeah, it's very hard for people to understand that to be true until they have actually done it, right? I've made millions of dollars in different businesses, and I know what it's like to make millions, to lose millions, to do it fast, to do it slow, to do it in retail, to do it in B2B. I've done it a bunch of different ways, and it's just not as exciting to me. It's like, what I care about, for me, life is quality times quantity, and we can't get much better in quality. I've got an OLED screen. It's got infinite blacks. If it gets any brighter, it blinds my eyes. If it has higher resolution, I won't be able to detect it. I'm sitting 1.5 feet away from it, so I see the pixels as well as they can be seen. I've got the world's best speakers. I've got the world's best keyboards. I've got like $15,000, well, maybe $10,000 of keyboards. I only end up using one, the one that is the best one, and all the other ones I don't use.
What about your wardrobe? Oh, that's got to be
a lot of that. I got a lot of fucking. I got Versace this and custom made that, and it's just, who cares? Like, you want to know what makes your wardrobe look good? You having a better body. You having a better body is going to look way better than your shitty body having better clothes. So your best wardrobe is actually getting skinnier. I need to be a lot skinnier, right?
Did you retire then with not double-digit millions?
Originally, yeah,
Wow.
single digits. But then if you manage your investments right, it just becomes more. So like,
I think you said you played video games then for 8 years.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
are you joking? Like, were you literally, it was every day, that's all you do is play video games? Like, most of the day.
Yep. And it's addictive, and it's terrible, because think of what else I could have done, right? Like, I could have made a huge impact.
Maybe you're good at game theory because of this. Maybe you understand. You don't think there's something.
It helps. Sure, it helps. I can recover some things out of that experience, but I could have learned those same things by just reading a goddamn book instead of blowing 10 years on it, you know? Because this monetizing things is figured out, right?
You still play games, and you got it under control?
No.
Do you view it as a drug? It's like, you know, you're
some people can have good relationship with drugs, and some people have more addictive personalities. So if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it hard, right? Like, I lifted so much weight recently that now my elbows are fucked up and I have to stop doing it for a while.
You're going to get the Tom Brady roller.
Maybe that works, right? So if you have an addictive personality and you're going to do games, and you're going to do them until you can't keep your eyes open anymore, and you're going to always stay up 2 hours later every day and have a weird rotating like schedule, it's not healthy, right? And so I don't drink. I haven't drank since August of last year. So that's like, I don't know, what is it? The second month, that's like 8 months or 6 months or whatever. And then don't smoke. Never smoked. Cut something else out. Cut coffee out. Don't drink coffee. Cut that out in November. And I want to cut out food that's basically not meat or water, but I'm a stress eater. And I'm launching a damn brand new thing where the deadline is like now. So it's hard to kick that last one, you know? Like the eat nothing thing it's not that easy for me. I'll get good at it eventually. Maybe after my tokens on market. But right now, I don't want to fight that battle while being on calls with my devs, and like it's just a hard time to be dining for me.
Right. Let me see if I have any more questions. 2, 3, we talked about that. I think we're good. I mean, I asked you everything I could.
So what we should do is you should pitch everything that everyone listening should do to benefit you, and I'll do the same.
You know, I do this I have this channel so that I can learn and gain knowledge. Because I have an audience and I've been doing a show, I have the opportunity to call and talk to you for 2 hours, which if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to. That has been my benefit, that I'm more knowledgeable. The referral link, I'm going to put it out, but like I can't help myself with all of these, my followers. I'm going to tell, you know, I talked about they can get their own referral link.
Yep.
I'll have a link. I always feel bad. But actually, if people
give it to charity. If you feel that bad, make your referral money so someone else doesn't, and then give it to Sense Foundation. They do anti-aging research.
So I'm going to put it out there when I get to it, and you know, people keep following my channel. I don't know. You know, I've been doing more with stories. For those who don't know, Instagram, YouTube, just more stories. I'm trying to teach kids about money and bring that to schools. That's what I'm working on a lot right now.
Get them addicted to margin trading. I'm going to show my BitMEX link during this call.
So I'm keeping, you know, people follow me, and I have nothing to pitch or sell.
Right. I got a shitload to pitch, dude. I got this covered. So follow me on Twitter, Richard Hart Win. Richard Hart, like the heart in your chest. If you have a heart, you heartless bastards. And I've got, I guess, 3 or 4 Telegram chat rooms. So we've got about 6,000 people in the Strape, like strawberry grape, t.me/Strape. That's like general crypto chat. We've got a trading chat room called Strape Charts, about 1,800 people in there, maybe 1,900. We got Sci-Vive, which is, I wrote a self-help book, couple self-help books, but they're outlines. They haven't had all the narrative crap put in there, but if you just want things you can do to make your life better, right? It's there. It's called Sci-Vive, like Survive Through Science, t.me/Sci-Vive. You can download them, enjoy. A lot of content there, like 600 pages, 500 pages.
SCIVIVE?
Yeah, Sci-Vive, SCIVIVE. So it's like, if I can show you how to get rich, get fit, get laid, be happy, be smarter, if I can show you all that stuff, and then you win at the game, maybe you care to invest in medical research so that you can play the game for longer, because that's the only thing that really matters. It's like when BitcoinHEX is done, promoting longevity technology is all that matters, because I want this game to keep going for a while. And if the people that were the best at what they were doing didn't just rot and become stupid and fall apart, imagine if Albert Einstein and Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell were still productive for an extra 20 years. The world would have a lot less problems, right? So we need to prevent this just giving up and giving in death. We're not even putting in a fight, right? Like, my grandparents died. I didn't do anything to help them. That sucks. My dog's going to die. I haven't done that much to help her. At some point, you realize you're dying, and you ain't doing much to help you. So if you want to do what's optimal play, you need to invest in the technology that will save your ass about 20 years before you need it. So if you're rich and you ain't got nothing else better to do with your money, put it in a biotech startup, give it to the Sense Foundation, put it into something that will help you or your kids or someone that you care about, because at some point we're all going to need it, unless you get hit by a bus, which is unlikely, right? So that's the actual end game for me. Hex, it's going to be awesome. I love it. It's going great. As soon as I can get into creating a Save Your Ass fund, where, like, you can buy Green Fund now, it invests in companies that kind of make the world a better place environmentally, in theory. If there's no Save Your Ass fund, is there a fund that you can buy that just invests in technology that'll make you rich but might also save your life? Well, that's fucking stupid. We need that. We need a Save Your Ass fund. In addition to these other, you know, demographically vertical, isolated, right? Vice fund, we invest in cigarettes and alcohol. Gaming fund, right? We invest in addiction. Oh, Save Your Ass fund. We invest in stuff that's cutting edge medical tech, but is likely to save you. So you're not black, you're not going to get sickle cell anemia. Okay, we're not going to invest in that because it's not going to help you. We're going to invest in stuff that'll help you, right? Your family, your kids. We need that. So the Sci-Vive book, the Save Your Ass fund, that's much more important. You know, that'll slap some number of years in my life if it goes well. the crypto. It's amazing. It's world changing. Is it going to get me to live longer and give me a longer health span? Not unless I roll it into those other things. And there's other people out there that already have a lot more money than me that should be doing those things and they're not. Like Bill Gates. Bill Gates is saving millions and millions and millions of people's lives, and that's awesome. But none of the shit he's doing to help them's helping me. I'm going to die right at the same fucking time. They're going to have a better time. There are going to be more of them, and that's fabulous, you know? The world would be a greater place with more people being productive in the future when I'm fucking dead. Well, let's work on some shit that could help me and my people out, you know? I want to live a little bit longer, right? Without dieting. I'm no good at dieting.
Well, the number one thing they've discovered to extend the length of your life is reduce calories.
Yeah.
And there's a special on, I think it was on Netflix. It's called Fasting, I think. And this thing with intermittent fasting, that not only, so there was an experiment with mice. The mice had the same exact food calories every day, but one group could only eat during 6 hours, one group could eat during 12 hours, the other group could eat during 18 hours. So they ate the same exact things, but the ones that ate it over an 18-hour period were overweight and unhealthy. The ones that ate only in a 6-hour period were thin and in shape. So I realized it's not just the calories. The body has two modes. One is digestion mode, and the other is, you know, not digesting. It does other things like repair. And so that I, like you, could not stop with the, whether it's stress or my kids go to bed and I eat a bunch of shit. Like, when I started thinking, okay, it's not about how much and what and how many calories, try to go at least 12 hours and go longer. And when you go through, like the first time I went through the, oh, my stomach's growling, boy, I'm hungry. But then I got a burst of energy because for once my body's not spending it's at least 10% of your energy for digestion. And then you get addicted. I mean, I started getting worried. I'm going to get an anorexic. I love not eating so much. And I'm someone who loves, I can get into, you know, the sugar and everything, believe me, and the carbs. But you can sort of get addicted in the same way to feeling hungry when you feel that extra energy and you feel good and lighter. So I check out this intermittent fast.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. I've actually been to Tony Robbins Island and did health mastery there and fasted for a week, where you just have a little bit of oil and a lot of water and you drop a lot of weight. So the worst thing is, like, I know that I can just not eat for a really long time if I choose to.
But you don't want to do, it's just like what I do, my base thing is after dinner, I'm done, right? Which is the hardest. The first few days I hugged my pillow at 9 at night. Like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I need something in my mouth. Even healthy, I have 5 grapes, doesn't matter. I just had it and I didn't, and I made it through a few days and then it's fine. And so you just from dinner, at least to breakfast, you get 12 hours, but just skip breakfast. You're off coffee. You can have caffeine tea, you can have water. And just when because I realize how often I just have a little bit and a little bit and a little bit throughout the day. If you have all or nothing, it's sort of easier, and how long you can go. And then when it's off, then you eat a bunch of crap and have your stress fun.
So the other thing people could do is hit up the BitcoinHEX Telegram channel, t.me/BitcoinHEX. And if you want a margin trade, you will probably get wrecked. You'll probably lose all your money. You're probably not as smart as you think you are, and you'll be parted with all your funds. But if you just have to do it and you want a 10% discount, go to richardhart.win and enjoy your 10% discount. And if you're on vacation in the States and you just, you know, need to show them that you're really from someplace that's not the States, you can use the VPN link. It's on the chat rooms. You'll find it.
So yeah, I tell people not to do this crazy trading, and
you get wrecked.
Most of these people, it's just not. But you mentioned that, and yeah, if you want to be
if you're going to get wrecked on my affiliate link with a discount.
Lose 10%, and lose 10% less after the
Yeah. I think that's it. Free book, chat rooms, Telegram, YouTube, Twitter. Yeah.
How often are you coming out with YouTube videos? Because I watched some.
Pretty rare. I only do YouTube videos when people ask me to. I've only twice ever asked someone to do a video with me. One was a genius friend of mine who built his own CFD solver that I was going to make a token out of. It was very, very hard, and it addressed a smaller market cap. So BitcoinHEX is a no-brainer, and I have no partners on it.
When you say you don't do, I'm looking here. 1 week ago, you did 2. Then you did one 2 weeks ago, and then
people are just asking me to do it a lot more often now. So I've got 3. I've got 2 coming up, 2 or 3 coming up on Tuesday, and they'll probably all be these multi-hour things. So It's funny because my audience is tired of hearing about BitcoinHEX because they kind of understand it, I think. So that's why like this one I didn't live stream because I knew that we'd be talking about Hex a lot. So I just let you do it on your channel because I don't want my channel to just be like beat to death, you know, with it. I want to mix it up for them a little bit. So I needed to throw some video in there that's not BitcoinHEX focused. I'm not sure what it'll be on. Maybe we'll do an interview with my puppy. I'm not sure they'd like that either. It was really good talking to you, man. I appreciate so many of my other interviews are with people that don't have any other real world business experience. I've found that in crypto, an extremely few number of people have any experience building successful businesses in any other industries. So I think you might be one of the first people that I've done an interview with that actually has fucking made a successful business before. Like,
yeah, that really helped me in 2018 because everyone was like, our token is it does this, it does that. And I'm like, they're using present tense, but it hasn't launched yet. One thing I know is that the line from idea to launch is everything. And it's
longer
like,
and longer.
People were mixing launched and working with not launched yet at the same exact value. And then especially at the beginning of 2018, I used to just say, hasn't launched yet. And if no, great. And so I didn't have to study 90% of all the projects out there because they didn't make that filter. And that was the best filter, you know. So
you ever watch this show?
It has helped me.
You ever watch a show called Silicon Valley? It's made by Mike Judge.
Yeah. I saw
the best scene for me from that series is where the dude's up front talking about how he's going to use the money from users to help pay for the servers. And the guy gets off his phone. He's like, no users. He's like, no, but I thought that we were in business to get users to use our stuff. He's like, no, you cannot get users. If you get users, people will ask how many, and the number will never be enough. What you have to do is be pre-revenue and choose this giant thing to compete with and this giant thing to compete with. And then you could be the next billion-dollar unicorn, okay? But if you get users, you'll be the 1x or 2x dog. And you're like, yeah, actually, yep, that's actually true. A lot of these projects have extremely high valuations with no users. And then once they launch and people discover that this shit doesn't work, then they're not worth anything anymore. So no users is actually much more profitable in crypto. Like having an ICO with no users will make you a lot more money than the hard road that I'm doing, where you ain't getting no money, nothing, right? You're getting only losses. Then you have to launch and then get traction and then be successful and have a working secure product. Well, that's a lot of and thens. The other guys just start with a couple $100 million. Like, we got to do a lot of work and a lot of wholesome, good, honest shit to get that same exit, right? It's like,
yeah. All right. Well, I like what you're doing. I just found you literally a week ago, and nice. You know, I have a new. I can't wait for your next video. It's just I find you hilarious. Just, you know, because you're knowledgeable of the how things work, and you don't mind talking shit about reality. So it's very entertaining. I like your project. I'm following, and you know, my channel. We'll talk about it as we get closer. Right. If you ever need a guest, let me know.
All right.
I like talking. I have no agenda. I'm not selling anything. I just trying to learn, and it's fun for me. I don't have other people local to me to talk about it with. So,
Dave, I appreciate it, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if we were, I don't know, skiing somewhere someday. I'll have to learn how to ski. It was good talking to you, man.
Okay.
Later.
Nice. Later. Thank you.